Good afternoon. It is 3 o'clock. I'm Joseph Bonanno live from Nissan Stadium at the Titans Draft Party. That's right. It's NFL Draft Day as the Tennessee Titans are ready to select number 1 overall when the 2025 NFL Draft begins at 7 p.m. tonight. You can catch all of your draft coverage right here on The Zone with Titans Radio starting at 6 p.m. following 3HL. The Titans made a Draft Day Eve signing last night, picking up former Seattle wide receiver Tyler Lockett on a one-year, $4 million deal. The 32-year-old had 49 catches for 600 yards and 2 touchdowns. In Tennessee football news, safety Jacoby Thomas is entering the transfer portal according to multiple reports. The MTSU Blue Raider turned volunteer played in all 13 games last season. He had 22 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, 1 sack, 2 pass breakups, and 1 fumble recovery. For foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you need to visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Balls. This is 104.5 The Zone.
HL 104.5 The Zone. Brent Doherty with you on a beautiful day in the Music City. Hope you're having a great Thursday. It is NFL draft time. The draft is tonight. Y'all, Babsy is here.
Let's go. Did you fools wake up ready for greatness today? That's what I want to know, because I did. Ready to witness greatness.
You have been on Cam Ward for a long, long time. You've never
Very
wavered,
excited.
and it's about to happen. We're just about 4 hours away from the beginning of the draft. How much of the clock do the Titans use to make the obvious selection?
Every second. All eyes on you.
Might as well. Somebody might call you. Hey, we got 3 first-rounders to get up to 1. Okay.
Don't you even speak that craziness ever again on this show today.
We are broadcasting live from Nissan Stadium. More on that in just a minute. The executive producer of 3HO is F. He's waving. He doesn't have a mic. I'll explain that in a second as well. Slay Dog is here.
I'm in the building. I'm in the building. I'm in the building.
So, Slay, we discussed yesterday which jersey you were going to wear today and tomorrow.
Yep.
There was discussion about Big Jeff being worn today.
Yep, it was.
And you didn't do it.
Nope, because what you just said, I woke up expecting greatness. So how else can I have greatness without representing greatness, people? And that's why I have on the mighty Traylon Burks jersey.
The mighty disappointing Traylon Burks.
Only in the eyes of the beholder, Babsy.
Only in the eyes of the stat
This
books.
is my wrestling voice.
And IR.
Dusty Rhodes.
Like Bert in that promo. That
You have to have a little more of a list.
Hey, what's going on?
Brett Bryan, executive
That's my
producer.
You
for
have to
Titans
let it
Radio.
roll off the tongue like this. You say, if you will,
There
Tony
it is.
Schiavone, it is the tower of power, too sweet to be sour. I have dined with kings and queens. I have eaten franks and beans. I eat T-bone steaks. I lift barbell plates.
The original, baby.
Dusty Rose McIndry.
That's right.
You need to inject all those mighties somehow into him with a lot of stem cells.
Yeah, that'd be good.
I
And
will. I got it. Just wait. Be patient. Patience is a virtue.
You're
We'll
going to have to
see.
be patient because he's not going to be ready for the start of the
Say it,
camp
Huck.
anyway.
Out route.
we'll
Burks
see.
catches a 7-hour route. Takes it to the house to start it off from Cam Ward. Look at the connection, people. We got Taylor Zarzar today?
No, tomorrow.
Darn. I was almost.
You're going to have him call a Traylon Burks call for you?
I'm going to get everybody warmed up.
I'm going to have to warn him. Don't worry. You're not going to have to do that for a while.
Taylor Zarzar
You're good.
will join us tomorrow at 3 o'clock. More on Friday's show. Hopefully today, maybe not.
Hey, I need your wet blanket to go away.
It's not a wet blanket. It's a mighty fine blanket, Babsy.
No, I need your BS to go away today.
no.
We are talking Cam Ward.
I know. This is in the connection.
Cam Ward was minus 20,000 yesterday to go number 1 overall. Today, he is minus 50,000.
Wow.
Whoa.
Which means you have to put up $100 to win 20 cents.
How about that? Don't see that one very often.
Yeah,
Like never.
That'll be use that one.
Wow.
So that is what's out there with Cam Ward right now with regard to the sports betting element to tonight's NFL draft. A lot of Titans fans are going to consume the draft here with the Titans draft party. Where is that? Just below us or just above us?
Just above us.
Just above
in the club
us.
section.
All right. So
Yes.
we'll go hang out there after we get done with the show. We are in the TV booth 1.
You are. This is where anybody coming into town to do a Titans game would do the broadcast, or Music City Bowl, whatever's televised here like that. They'd be right in this room where we are.
If our buddy Jim
Network.
Nance got to do a game, he would do it from in here.
Hello, friends.
Yes, he
Careful.
would.
He'll call you up. That's what he did with Slay.
Yeah.
That's my
I
line.
apologize
Slay.
to him.
Let's start with the Titans picking up a wide receiver last night, and he broke his own story. That was
And
cool.
I woke up for greatness this morning myself
See,
because
I know you did.
I hit the rack early and woke up about 5 a.m. to see that on my timeline. I was like, okay, I like this. Tyler Lockett is now a Tennessee Titan. You're right. He did break his own news via his social media accounts. And you're talking about a guy that just epitomizes, workhorse guy, dependable, accountable. He makes it happen. I mean, okay, he had an off year in 2024.
Yeah, talk to me about that.
Well,
I'm concerned about that. With
a
a guy going into year 11.
Well, but here's the thing, though. There's a reason why Geno Smith isn't there anymore and was traded, traded out of this thing. But I think you just have to look at the whole big picture. It's just like looking at these draftees over the next 72 hours. There are sample sizes that make you have questions. And sometimes it's, where's the production? Well, sometimes they're right there at their closing point, but they don't finish the deal. Tyler Lockett's always been a guy that finished the deal. I mean, you don't get a guy who spent 99.9% of his career in one spot because he's bad. That doesn't happen.
Right.
The thing I thought about instantly is for Cameron Ward, how good this is to have him and to have Calvin Ridley, two vets. But I also think about the current wide receiver room because let's not forget Bryce Oliver, an undrafted guy from Youngstown State. They really like him. They like his trajectory. I think he has a Nick Westbrook-Akine path, starting to work on special teams and just put in the work. What a better example to learn how to be a pro from than a guy like Tyler Lockett. I mean, that's, this is big time by osmosis for that room that has a lot of youth in it.
The biggest thing
And he
to me
played.
for him is that he never misses games. He's
Right,
never
he
missed
played
more
every
than
game.
No,
Yeah.
he's
Durable.
He's never missed more than one game in a season.
Yep.
So
Durable.
I mean, there's something to be said for that.
Absolutely. And look, does that mean that they change their approach at pick 35 tomorrow night? We're going to have to see on that. I would say that they would have entertained some offers at pick 35 tomorrow night. I looked at last year's draft, pick 34, 35, 37, 39. I think there was like 9 or 10 trades in the second round.
I remember that, yeah.
So there's value there, and we'll see if that happens. But I guess it also depends on their board what wide receiver group in that pod is sitting there. Is it Emeka Egbuka? Is it Luther Burden from Missouri? Is there an edge pass rusher that they like better?
Ding, 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 ding,
So,
ding.
it's depending upon, what is on their board. And as Chad Brinker, CEO of Football Operations, said, let the board talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what they mean.
I just hope the board says, look at this edge guy sitting right there at the top, waiting to be picked in that second round.
All right. And Dawn, give me an example of who that would be.
Is Stewart gone by then? Shamar Stewart?
My God, I love him.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
I mean, him, Landon Jackson, Arkansas
I
kid,
love
maybe.
Landon Jackson.
What
should
if
be there
James
at
Pierce
35.
is sitting
James Pierce, that was
Okay.
another one.
there? All right.
Somebody, who was it?
As long as you're not worried about the outside, and I feel like
Well,
the Titans will have done their due diligence on
have
James
to. That's what
Pierce
they have a
Jr.
team of people that vet that stuff year round. So yeah, you'd have to have done your due diligence.
I have a question for you, and it's a guy Detillier brought up yesterday.
Mike D.
Yes, from Boston College, Donovan Ezaraku. Yes. And I remember him from like 2 years ago, I think, at BC, and super disruptive. What have you thought about him and where he might be?
I'll tell you, on the Mac Rhett board, we have him as the top edge pass rusher in the top of pod 2, right where you're talking about.
Okay.
Look at that.
Yep.
There's the Mac and Rep board right there on our table.
16 and a half quarterback sacks, second only to Mike Green of Marshall. And but yeah, like the way he moves, like the way he operates. Big dude. It started noticing him more and more as we got to Senior Bowl and made the. But yeah, Coach Mack really likes Donovan Ezaraku.
There you go. add that one to a possibility list.
I do miss the days where you guys had this on a whiteboard, so to speak.
Yeah, we had on a giant post-it
board.
note pad. Yeah,
That was awesome.
Well, we've kind of come into the 21st century, so it's Excel spreadsheets and that
maybe
kind of
that's
stuff,
the 20th century.
Yeah, maybe whatever. Yeah, you're right, because we'd have it digitally, and we don't let everybody. You're actually getting to see the board a little bit.
I've never seen it before,
and we're not taking snapshots of that. That's just for certain eyes only. But yeah, we've covered quite a few prospects in this whole thing. But Donovan Ezaraku is right where you're talking about.
I think it was Easton Freeze that was with us. We've had so many people just trying to get as many voices on about the Titans, and about the draft and all these things. I think it was Easton Freeze who brought up, what if the Titans, if James Pierce Jr. is still sitting there at the back end of the first round, do they trade up to get him?
I don't think so. I don't think you're going to see any move where they give up what they already need in capital. I just don't. Now, if it's something where, looking at the trade point chart, that's halfway doable. But hearing Chad Brinker speak about this frequently, I don't think there's a deal where they move to do that just because they don't have the capital. They truly, I'd say if they're honest, they'd like to get wanting someone bad enough at 35. They get a third that they're lacking from the L'Jarius Sneed trade a year ago.
That was the next obvious question. Do you move back from 35?
I think there's a chance. Yeah. You're going to have an opportunity with what's going to be, because in this window, you're going to have that next group of wide receivers. You're going to have some of those pass rushers. The other thing that is going to be important to remember in this, one of the richest, deepest positions in this draft is the interior defensive line. It's loaded with them. I mean, Daniel Jeremiah told us at the Combine he had 24 grades, 24 guys with grades.
Yeah.
Half that many last year in 2024.
It's heavy this year.
So.
But that's not the kind of help Big Jeff wants.
No. I understand that. But that's trade. That's potential trade value, because let's think about this, y'all.
Yes.
What's the way that you beat Lamar Jackson, that you beat Patrick Mahomes? Look at what Philadelphia did in the Super Bowl. Milton Williams made a lot of money mashing the middle of that pocket, and that's why if you can't get a true pass rusher, maybe you have a need there as well, and you pull the trigger and make a trade with the Titans.
He's not a sack guy, but
that's a great point.
He got a bag.
But he just disrupted everything.
That's right. More, obviously, on the NFL draft, what do the Titans do? We'll talk more in depth about this with Rhett Bryan from Titans Radio next. 3HL 104.5 The Zone.
It's a wrap. Don't let it be a wrap for you. When the car accidents happen, you need a number on speed dial. That would be Bardorm Injury Law. You want to always have that number nearby. Just like you have your mom, your dad, your parents, whoever your guardian is, have that number. I'm sure you need this number too, because you want to have somebody fighting for you. Life can change in an instant, and you need this. 615-242-9000. 615-242-9000. Car wreck can throw everything off. Your job, bills, peace of mind, so much more. That's when you need our good friends over at Bart Durham Injury Law to get on the job. Blair Durham and his team already got their gloves on, ready to box and fight for folks in Tennessee. They've been doing it for years. So no upfront costs, no waiting around, just real people making sure you get what you deserve. So if you've been injured, don't wait. Call BDIL. That is Bart Durham Injury Law at 615-242-9000. They're here 24/7. And ready to fight for you. Don't go at this alone. Call Bart Durham Injury Law.
3HL 104.5 The Zone, NFL Draft Day. We've got Rep Brian in the booth with us, and by in the booth, I mean we're in the booth. At,
Literally.
Nissan Stadium, TV Booth 1. In the press box, the Titans Draft Party will occur right above us, and we'll mosey on up there after the show. Rhett, thanks for stopping by, man.
I'm glad to do it. You know how much this event and this process means to me, and so I'm honored to be on the show this hour and kind of lead up to what we're going to start with at 6 o'clock and roll into some coverage at 7, and with what we think is coming. It's a historical night. It is a historical night for the franchise. It'll be the first time in Titans history that they've selected someone number 1 overall, and in franchise history, 47 years.
Wow.
The tide arose.
That's crazy.
Earl Campbell, Heisman Trophy winner, running back, Texas. That's the last time in the spring of 1978. Pretty wild.
Before
Yeah.
we were born.
Yeah, when he thought about really. I tell you this, man. So with the excitement around it, like, what's the movement? You've been through this, like a high pick, the Vince Youngs, Mariotas.
I was in New York when they took Vince Young.
Okay.
I had him on Titans radio 30 minutes after he was drafted in Radio City Music Hall. I'll never forget it. And that was when I realized how big a deal this was. I knew it was,
Yeah.
but until you're in it,
Yeah.
and you're in Radio Row there, just immersed in the seating, the lower seating part of Radio City Music Hall, and I see here comes the Jets radio guys were right next to me, and here comes DeBrickashaw Ferguson to do an interview with him, and I see Matt Leinart, and I see all these people, and then the celebrities that were there.
Right.
It's unbelievable. But yeah, this is a huge moment. I mean, listen, it speaks to what I have frequently said on the flagship home here, 104.5 The Zone. The NFL is the sports animal, the beast of North America. It rules North America. Football rules North America from 7-on-7, Pee-wee, high school, college, and all the way up to what this is. Think about it. The ratings that television will have over the next 3 days, the NBA and NHL would kill to have those. And it's not even a game being played. It's a fashion show.
Right.
You got your drip on.
That's right.
You got a fresh lid on.
Yeah.
You hold up your jersey. You bear hug the commish. And then
You got
you're
your
off to
walk-up
the
song,
car
I
wash to
mean.
go. Yeah.
All
Yeah,
of it.
walk-up songs this year.
Yeah.
That's what was so cool when they took the draft out of Radio City Music Hall, and then we were able to experience it live here in Nashville. And you're thinking about all these hundreds of thousands of people for what you just said, a fashion show, no game being played.
Yeah. Not a ball in sight.
That's the power of that league, and they found a way to dominate every month of the calendar year. Too.
Absolutely,
can't
and that's
stand
why they pushed the schedule release back to
March
the middle
Madness.
to the middle of May instead of right after the draft. It's like, oh, let's just make this, let's all encompass
And
this
that's
thing.
gotten bigger.
Quick question. You're talking about walk-up songs, and I just saw where, I don't know if it's Schefter or Rappaport or one of those was reporting that. So what would be your walk-up song if you're drafted?
Car ain't got no roof.
Of course.
I ain't got nothing else to walk. That's got to be.
That's it all day long.
Yep.
And I mean, that's a dumb question on me because that should be the answer.
But that would be if I
right,
was
Brent,
if I was based
what
here.
would
If
it
I was
be?
somewhere else, it'd be dedication
For you.
by Nipsey Hussle.
Everlong Foo Fighters, I guess.
You're a Foo Fighters
what's-
guy. That makes total sense.
You know what's funny is
Yeah.
we're putting together a little something like this. I started it like 2 weeks ago. That Zuff is putting together for social media.
All right, so
this
I just ruined
exact
everything, and I'm
thing.
sorry.
No.
it's fine.
I hadn't picked a song
He hadn't
until
picked
you just
one,
put me
yeah.
on the spot, and I was
And
like,
you
well,
don't,
that's my favorite
Davenport.
song.
Okay, well, if this were like draft,
Yeah.
it would probably be Eye of the Tiger.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
My
there's
draft song
conditions.
would be
So if you were
different, too.
playing baseball, it's something different. Is that what you're telling me?
Well, I mean, in my
I'm
life
with you.
now,
Yeah.
it would probably be a little Joan Jett.
Okay.
I don't give a damn about my reputation. So,
course.
which actually might go well in a draft walk-up too, right?
If it were me,
yes.
and I've always thought about this, if I was an MLB player, my walk-up song to taking at bat, it would be the same thing for draft night because I'd probably be some kind of a defensive player in this fantasy, that's all this is. But The Who, Eminence Front.
Okay.
Oh,
And I mean,
Kirby, good
when
choice.
you, it's got a long intro there, but there's a certain beat where there's a drum beat, and it just, it's like he's coming.
Yeah.
Better look out.
Yeah.
He's coming.
The prospect walk-up songs are out. Some of them.
Yeah.
Jihad Campbell, free promo, Lil Baby.
Okay.
Will Campbell, right above it, Lil Wayne.
I like that.
Abdul Carter, About My Money.
How appropriate is that? I'm going to put my hand in the dirt.
Yeah.
About my money is
You better know it.
very
Look at
appropriate.
Wanna get that
Maxwell
quarterback.
Hairston, the corner from Kentucky.
Him all along.
Uh-huh.
Matthew Golden, International Players Anthem. I choose you. Mason Graham, Bottom from Gunna. Travis Hunter, Let It All Work Out, Lil Wayne.
Oh, I like that.
Everybody mess with Wayne.
Ashton Genty, Clear My Rain, Gunna.
A lot of Gunna fans out there.
Will Johnson, Toast Up, Gunna.
Yeah.
Jalen Milroe, Walk Through, Rich Homie Quan.
That's a good
And
one.
Cameron Ward, what about him?
Well, your guy is Shamar Stewart first, Forever, Drake.
Uh-huh.
And then Cam Ward, Freestyle, Rod Wave.
A little slower.
It's super chill, y'all.
It is. It
Do
is.
we have it? I think we have it. Who's producing right now? Jackson?
Smiley.
Smiley. Do you have Cam Ward's?
So
Walk-up song?
I pulled it up on YouTube. I do not have it anymore, but I can get it if you give me a few minutes.
So my question for Gordy was going to be this. Earl Campbell is one thing.
Yep.
Derrick Henry is another. But the number one pick in today's game, getting a quarterback to be the representative of your franchise, what does that mean?
Well, it means a changing of the guard. It's something that aligns with this new building they're building right over our backs right here at New Nissan Stadium.
It's like a
Because-
rebirth, right? Almost.
Yeah, it is a rebirth. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't think anybody would, say in any stretch of the imagination, this is a rebuild. This is a reset. This is,
They've actually used that.
I mean,
word
there's
now.
there's
They've
a lot
admitted
of
it.
things they need outside of the quarterback position. But if you're going to start over, you need someone to lead.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I'm convinced, and I think we'll find this out from Mike Borgonzi tonight and probably Brian Callahan too. I think where it started turning towards what we believe Cameron Ward is in the first pick tonight, the alpha attitude, the leadership mentality. I mean, you read everything about this guy. He's carved a path, 0 star to hero star.
Yeah.
I mean, only in America and through the NCAA and the transfer portal can you go from a 0-star recruit
Isn't that
to being
crazy?
the first pick in the National Football League draft. It's ridiculous.
And that
crazy.
It kind of aligns with what the Titans are. You know what I'm saying? When you look at the history of it, when you talk about the guys that were kind of self-made, that had to, be at the helm of that. 10 years from now, we're able to look back. You got to be able to say, man, I got that right. And on his values and who his character is, I said at the beginning of this week, I am the hope and hype train.
It's loaded. It's loaded.
I bought me a ticket. That might have been the last one going, but I got me a ticket and got on, man.
Well-
Because what you're hearing from him, that's who this franchise is.
That's right. And if he turns out to be what they think he is and what we all hope
That's
he
when
is,
we look back at it.
then you forget about the losing in the past. And
Well, let me say
you move
this.
forward, right?
You hit on this one, and I think that's another thing Mike Borgonzi has seen is some shadows of some things he's seen before. You hit on this one in any neighborhood of the guy that I'm not mentioning right now.
Right.
And this building over here is
Yeah.
going to be a hell of a lot of fun.
Yes, it is.
Like,
Yes,
we
it
ain't
is.
talking about 3 and 14.
Well, and
Like,
then you're
we're talking about some big boy stuff now.
That's why I'm saying, we it's great. The Derrick Henrys, Chris Johnsons, Earl Campbells, all them, that's Eddie George. But when you talk about a quarterback,
Warren
getting on the court, Warren, Steve.
And see, that was and
this
see,
is
it's
different.
funny you bring him
Those are
up
the two.
too because that is I'm working on a project with the Titans on the history of the team that is part of a presentation of the rookie class for their rookie mini camp.
so they
Wow.
understand it.
Yes.
And so
You were Slay was
Slay
just talking about
I
this
just went through
yesterday.
this. Just went through this. We ain't even talk.
I wrote,
Because
I
he
wrote
was
a
talking
script and
about-
I'm going to voice it probably tomorrow.
Beautiful.
So
He was talking about how Ward had said he just recently went back and watched. Was it
Warren Moon.
Warren Moon?
Yep.
Yeah.
and see that
because he had a conversation.
and you're
with him.
talking
Right.
about a reset that worked so well. Now, did they get their ultimate goal they wanted? Hindsight, no, they did not. But that started 7 straight playoff years,
Yeah.
and it took a minute to get it going.
Yeah.
But there was a window there where they were outscoring everybody in the league.
Yeah.
Kevin Gilbride had the run and shoot offense. Haywood Jeffries and
Ernest Givens.
and
Ernest
all these cats.
Yeah.
And so, but it's a chance for a new chapter for this franchise in a place where, again, you haven't made a pick as the Titans #1 overall in 47 years in the franchise history. This wasn't the same thing, but you mentioned Warren Moon. That is a pivotal point in the history of this franchise because Bud Adams, Mr. Adams, was a visionary when it came to this kind of thing. He took a guy that had to go to the CFL and played for Edmonton and win 5 Grey Cups and bring him in and pay him a lot of money at the birth of this what we see now everywhere and making the first black quarterback the face of the franchise. He took a chance. He took a serious chance, and it worked out pretty good because Warren Moon, I mean, listen, you put his passing records from the CFL and the NFL together, and it ain't even close. Like he's slinging it.
You remember that event that Miss Amy did for when J Hut was raising money for LLS, and she talked a ton about that moment in this franchise, that decision her dad made, the transformative, kind of years of the NFL, really. You know?
Listen, Mr. Adams was so forethinking in some things like this. And I'll say until he's in there, it's a damn shame he's not in the Pro Football Hall of Fame because you cannot tell the history of modern pro football from 1970 forward with the merger without the name K.S. Bud Adams. When he took that meeting with Lamar Hunt and they decided, hey, we're going to start our own league to compete against the NFL, the other people were like, they call it the Foolish Club.
That's right.
Yeah.
And he did a couple of crazy moves because he was a Wildcat or oil guy, right? And so the NFL had illegally had a post-dated contract they'd signed to Heisman winner Billy Cannon at LSU back in October of '59. So he's like, okay. So he gets Adrian Burke, his attorney, who was also a quarterback in the NFL in the olden days, and signs him to a contract under the goalpost at the end of the Sugar Bowl in January the 2nd of 1960. NFL said, took it to court. Court said, Oilers win. That's the first mark right there and where the AFL was going to compete against the National Football League. Then he secures television contracts for these outfits. He did so many things in the 10 years that it took from them from 1960 to 70 to get this to where we are now. Like, that's the reason the Titans came from the New York Jets because he loaned them money to stay afloat. When Joe Namath came out of college in the draft, he wanted to make sure that they got that pick. He could have had it, but he knew that it would survive and succeed better in a large television market like that. So then Super Bowl III guarantee happens, and the rest is history.
It's so nuts.
It's amazing.
It's fascinating. It's really, the whole thing is fascinating.
You're right, though. Getting that into court was the move. He knew the NFL would fight it, and once it got into court, he knew he would win. Yeah, and that was the first.
They signed the Rams had signed Billy Cannon like two months and change earlier, and no, not so quick.
Billy Cannon. Tennessee stopped him on the goal line to beat LSU.
Look at you.
It all comes back, doesn't it?
Very famous moment that you bring up there.
And I didn't mean to go on a history tangent.
No, I love it.
I'm fired up about today, and I think Mr. Adams would be very excited about what we believe is going to happen tonight.
He would have some line
after 7
about Cam. He would have some line, like VY's my guy.
VY's my guy.
He would have some line.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting.
Cameron Ward can't be ignored.
There you go. That's it.
There we go.
That's it.
What are you starting, Red?
Cam Ward, obviously in Green Bay, and was it Jim Wyatt that was walking next to him when he was talking about how much he doesn't like Green Bay? This is interesting. Check it.
And we in Green Bay. Ain't nothing to do here but get drafted. So we gonna get drafted. Most of y'all know where we finna be at. Probably Nashville, probably New York. So we gonna see, but man, if I had some advice for y'all, bring your jackets to Green Bay. It ain't to do here, and it's cold too, so I'm out.
Well, here's the thing, and you touched on this earlier,
Cameron
Brent.
Ward.
When the NFL pulled it out of New York and put it on tour, mostly as a consolation prize for not being able to host a Super Bowl.
That's right.
I was surprised when Green Bay got it because I'm like, there's a chance it could snow this time of the year there. It doesn't get warm there till about July.
And it's impossible to get to.
You got to go to Milwaukee and drive about 2 hours, and there you are. But, yeah, I mean, that's a little strong on Green Bay because there's some lovely people there, but there's not a ton to do. He's right about that.
Yeah.
I mean, Green Bay, Wisconsin is about the size of Murfreesboro, and it's one of the craziest places in the world where you drive through an old neighborhood that looks about like Creve Hall south of here.
That's exactly all the ranch
brick
houses.
style,
Yep.
ranch style, 60s, 50s, 60s houses. And you know you're getting close because there's people parking in the yard, 20, 30, 40, 50. And all of a sudden, this space opens up and there's Lambeau Field. And here's the Don Hudson Athletic Center where they train. It's the craziest thing. It's like you dropped a stadium in the middle of Creve Hall.
Yeah, and if
for
you're
all the
lucky
old
enough
Nashville folks.
to go at some point, do it because it's one of these places when you walk into the stadium, you feel the history. Yeah, I mean, you absolutely feel it.
Oh, and listen, and that redo they did years ago when Favre was still there, they did it right. It was like it became Camden Yards of the NFL. The brick and the wrought iron and keeping a lot of the footprint like it was. It's fantastic. I like going to Green Bay. Now, I'm not crazy about it when it's in December and it's snowing and all. I'm with you on that, Cameron Ward, but it's one of the great places in the National Football League, and it's the only one of the 32 that's publicly owned.
That soundbite's going to pop up if he's like playing a game in Kansas City or Pittsburgh in December or something.
Yeah.
And
And guess what? The way he's built, the way we perceive him to be, he gonna stand up on that one.
yeah,
10 toes down, like let's
Yeah.
get it on, Green Bay.
What's the craziest comp player you've seen for Cameron Ward? I've seen him all over the
I
board.
mean, Patrick Mahomes is the craziest one. I mean, he does physically throw the football with his arm like him, but
Well, you know who
That
thinks
one
there's
is
some of that
Stephen F. for
there?
me.
Coach Dave McGinnis.
yeah,
I mean,
he
so
told
does
us that yesterday.
Cosell.
Now,
Louis
and-
Riddick,
and
too.
Lewis Riddick.
I
yep.
think it's a lot of his elasticity, the way he scrambles in the pocket, the sidearm shortstop delivery, the flick of the wrist, fitting it into crazy plays. There's
The aggressiveness.
We know that Patrick Mahomes is one of one. We know. I've seen that one. Yeah, yeah. I've seen. I think Daniel Jeremiah had Steve McNair.
Yeah, that's the
Really?
one. That's
saw
the
it.
one that's tough for me.
That's weird.
I said that,
he's
like-
built sturdy like that, though.
He
That's
is,
the
man,
thing.
but I don't think people realize or have gone and watched him play and the way he elevated everyone around him the entire time. And if they wasn't elevated, he would just take over. Like McNair in college, man, it was
Well, now you're talking
Lord
about a
have
whole different
mercy.
thing. I mean, I remember the ESPN2 carrying a lot of his games down the
Like-
stretch when he was in the Heisman conversation.
dude.
He hung, I want to say 600 or 700 yards total yards from scrimmage on UTC in Chattanooga one day, and I think he had 6 touchdowns, four running and like
he was
3 or
playing
4
a real
passes.
video
It was
game,
ridiculous.
man. A real
He
live
was
video game.
he was a
dude.
Madden or EA Sports character back then.
Yeah.
He is sturdy built though, like McNair, and until recently, I've always thought like his sound bites sounded a little like Steve in terms of
Yeah.
just matter of fact, competitive leader.
A little calm in him.
Yeah, this is just what I do, and this is how it's going to
Quiet.
be, and all of those things.
The funny one I saw from Albert Breer in his piece he put out in Sports Illustrated yesterday is he's a sawed-off Ben Roethlisberger.
I saw, yep,
But
saw
I
that
know
one.
where he's coming from because it's all in a lot of these we're talking about extending plays with his body.
Right.
And the thing is, you can do that to some good and some wow moments. You can do it to your detriment, and I think that's where the Titans brass is trying to figure out how to dial that back just a notch, but still keep that element in there so that he's dealing.
Rep
Somebody
Brian.
said Jordan Love.
I have heard that
I've
one
seen
too.
that one too.
I,
yeah.
I ain't watching enough of them in college now.
You saw him in college, but he didn't play well
Yeah.
at LSU, right?
Yeah, he played awful that game.
Yeah.
Now his
I've done a lot of
supporting staff
filibustering
did
during this
nothing,
hour.
but-
During this last segment, we can kind of motor through. We can do
I'm
bullet
about to,
point.
I'm about to do it right now.
Yeah.
But yes, good read of the break. Rhett Bryant, executive producer of Titans Radio. I want you to think about if they move from 35 down into the 50s or
Okay.
something and pick up another top 100 pick, because they've talked a lot about coming up with more draft capital, and that would be the way to do it. So want to ask you about that. We'll start there. Also, when we come back, Jackson's going to bump back with Cameron Ward's walk-up music.
I like it.
So that'll happen. Stay tuned. NFL Draft is tonight.
Jay Cutler, that was the other one we were talking about yesterday
Yes,
that
so
some
was.
people had compared.
He
Cam
was a
to.
flick of the wrist guy, too.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
Like
sorry.
a baseball, like a shortstop in baseball. 615-737-1045 if you want in. This is the NFL Draft edition of 3HL live at Nissan Stadium. We'll be right back.
All right, y'all. Now that's the opportunity for you to jump on it. Get up on that thing. You better. Holistic stem cell therapy is what it is. Your body, your cells, your solution. You cannot miss this opportunity to sit down with Dr. Kellum, Ethan Kellum. 615-850-4415 is the number you would dial to get that consultation where you get that sit down to ask anything that's on your mind. Now, a little bit about Dr. Kellum. Now, he's the stem cell specialist for the Tennessee Titans as well. Some clients, especially athletes, even just use them for naturally enhanced performance and longevity. So when you get those injuries and you're trying to cut that healing time in half, this is where it happens. The body's stem cells. They're stored for future and continued use, and they're harvested and redeployed based on your needs. So a direct hit, whether it be to your shoulder, your knee, your ankle, hip, back, whatever else you can name, man, it's going to have you right. It's fighting inflammation, and nothing better without putting any other antidotes or anything in your body, just to let your own body do the healing. 615-850-4415, KellumStemCellInstitute.com.
3HL 104.5, the Zone NFL Draft edition of the Big Show, broadcasting live from Nissan Stadium. Go to TennesseeTitans.com for more information about tonight's festivities. They are setting things up on the field. Hopefully the weather will allow for that portion of tonight's event to happen. They've got a big stage, inflatables, cornhole, a Tito's Airstream.
A Tito's what?
Airstream trailer.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
It's like
What's an
accountant.
Airstream?
That's the brand.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The accountant, too. Go check it out.
It's like a food truck for Tito's.
Yeah, anything that's
Basically.
like a bullet that's shiny like that, it's an Airstream model.
Okay, there we go.
You see them everywhere. Now that we've had this discussion, you'll see
I'll
them
see
everywhere.
them everywhere.
That is correct.
That
you
is
will.
that is definitely true. Rhett Bryan, executive producer of Titans Radio, with us now. Coming up a little bit later, Greg Cosell from NFL Films at 420 will revisit what he thinks about the tape from Cam Ward, among other players, the high-profile guys. Former Atlanta Falcons general manager Thomas Demitrov will join us at 5 o'clock, and Big Savagery, Ramon Foster, at 5:20. Big busy show as we lead up to the 2025 NFL Draft, which will happen live in Green Bay. Titans radio coverage coming up tonight at 6 o'clock.
Yes, indeed. You will hear from General Manager Mike Borgonzi, Head Coach Brian Callahan, myself, Coach Dave McGinnis, Amy Wells, Big Savage, Ramon Foster. You'll hear from the new voice of the franchise, Taylor Zarzar, for a little bit. We'll hear a little. We'll even have some little audio snippets from the man himself, Earl Campbell, the first overall
Oh,
Okay.
awesome.
draft pick for the franchise back in 1978.
As a kid, he and Walter Payton were my two favorite players.
I
Absolutely
couldn't
love
pick
those
any
guys.
better if you're talking about running backs. There it is.
Real quick, I need to identify this because he won't do it himself. Slay, 2 out of 3 with the NHL picks last night. We're getting the billboard up. Nashville's
Meatloaf
premier.
said 2 out of 3 ain't bad. There we are.
That's winner. That's a win
chicken
tonight.
dinner. That's
It's
chicken
not
dinner.
it's not a winner if you make it a parsley.
Oh, but I don't do that. I just
See, that's
Slay,
that's how
did you?
that's how generous I am, Babs. It really ain't about me. It's about giving to the people.
I bet them individually and then go from there.
Okay.
But yeah, we're working on a billboard to have Slay's picture, Nashville's premier NHL
Expert.
expert, Ron Slay.
Okay.
With a
As
bunch,
long as
with a bunch of $100
well, as
bills.
long as he's got those sweet meta specs
I love
on,
him.
he's been sporting around
I
here.
love them, man.
Only reason why I haven't gotten them is because he has them, and I would be tempted to wear them like sitting right next to him, which I
know why
don't
you
know what
wouldn't.
that
Yeah,
fashionably
that makes
would look
sense.
like. Jacksonville trying to get to number 2 to get Travis Hunter. That's the rumor today.
Yeah, and that's,
That's big.
Gladstone, the young man that is their general manager, came from the Los Angeles Rams. He may be the wild card in this stuff. We'll see what they do. There's talk about him trading up to 2. We'll see if that happens. If they stay at 5, for a long time, for like 2 months, it was Mason Graham, the defensive lineman from Michigan.
Yep.
Now it seems like something different. Like you hear as late as yesterday could be a running back. And you think about Jacksonville and when they've been the most successful is when they've had a good back. Think about those Jaguars teams that hated the Titans back then. Fred Taylor.
Oh, for sure.
Made it happen. And then
That offensive line
Maurice
was a little
Jones-Drew
bit
later
different.
on.
Yep.
There was a battle in Jacksonville where he and CJ2K had over 200 yards rushing apiece. So I could see that. And the thing about the running backs, there'll be at least 2 taken tonight and maybe more, just because this wide receiver class is not what it was in previous years. I think there's value later on, but at the top it's different. And when you're talking about a guy like Ashton Genty from Boise State, the guy's a pass-catching option for
yeah.
you. Yeah, he can run the ball.
He's gonna
but
be-
he is what you want in today's NFL
I believe
as a
that
running back.
he's going to be one of the best players in the league.
I mean, he's
Got that written all over him.
and he's just his contact balance is fantastic, and he's got a low center of gravity. And he says he's Saquon Barkley 2.0, and if I was him, I'd feel that way too. And if he is, look out, whoever takes him. I mean, good
he's a
grief.
different skill set, but yeah. What's
Not the Jags,
interesting?
hopefully.
Right.
Yes,
We brought that up to Todd Furman yesterday because the odds-on favorite to go number 5 is Ashton Genty in Vegas. And Todd said they have so many other needs. That offensive – he goes, the Titans fans, if that happens, you'll love it because they have no offensive line.
they still don't know what to do with Walker Little, and they have issues there. And Trevor Lawrence. Well, you would help him with a pass-catching option and a back there. You've got to have somebody to keep him upright.
if the Titans, Rhett Bryan, trade out of 35 and trade down, Easton Freeze from AZ Sports was talking with us about that. And he looked at kind of the compensation. If they get into the 50s, for example, they pick up an additional top 100 pick. Who are some of the players that might be available and attractive if they do move down, do you think?
Well, it depends on what position you're talking about, because, I mean, there's a bunch of them. And that's where this draft is the strongest, because it's one of the weird things. After about the top 5, 6 picks, there's just a variance of likes and beliefs and what you're going to see some weird things about where guys are taken tonight when you get to the middle and the bottom third of the round, because there are a lot of guys that don't separate themselves from that. There's a lot of like players grade-wise from about pick 9 to about pick 50. So, I mean, you're gonna see some things like that. It's going to be strange. But, I mean, if you're talking about –
Did Tyler Lockett, did that news change maybe the direction of the second round?
I mean, that's quite possible. But we,
thing?
It's quite possible. It is. But it depends on what need or what lines up in their board once it's reset tomorrow night, going into tomorrow night, what that board says to them and talks to them with. Because, I would think edge pass rusher might be the bigger thing now that you have Tyler Lockett, but you still need more stuff in that wide receiving room. You've got so many needs, and that's why the question about trading down from 35 becomes a valid point. It's something they might entertain. It's just what that point chart comes out to trade-wise, because if you're taking 35, you're probably going to have to give them something in the later. You're going to make 35 and 188 to get to something like a third rounder, or it just depends on what is up for grabs in that thing. But golly, you're talking.
Landon Jackson could still be there.
He could absolutely. Tyleik Williams from Ohio State could possibly be there. If you need an off-ball linebacker, Carson Schlesinger from UCLA could be there. You're talking about Benjamin Morrison, the corner from Notre Dame, could be there. Xavier Watch.
We haven't talked about corner at all.
Xavier Watch, the safety from Notre Dame, could be there. Your running backs, you could see Quinshawn Judkins from Ohio State there. You could see Jack Besh, the receiver from TCU. Trey Harris from Ole Miss.
You like him, right?
I do. How about a tight end, Terrence Ferguson from Oregon? He could be there. And you could just go down the list on this, but
Slade loves Trey Harris, and he's got me on him, and I remember obviously watching a lot of Ole Miss games. What do you think about Trey Harris?
All he does is produce. So he's from Lafayette, Louisiana, goes to La Tech, and transfers and plays for Lane Kiffin, and all he did was produce there.
Right.
He is one of 2 wide receivers in Southeastern Conference history to average 100 yards per game in his career. Jabbar Gaffney's the other one. That's it.
He was a dog. Let me ask you this, Gordon. Regardless of need, who's the best player in this draft?
It's a toss-up between Abdul Carter and Travis Hunter. Those are the 2 blue-chip players, and I would put Ashton Jeanty, the running back from Boise State, just right outside of that. There are 2 true blue-chip players, and it's the edge pass rusher Abdul Carter from Penn State and Travis Hunter from Colorado.
What is
With
it?
some question marks on Carter.
Yeah. But even with him in the play, besides the injury, what is it for Abdul Carter, though, that makes him?
Well, unfairly to him, he played at the same place Micah Parsons, wore the same number, all those things. But look at him in the college football playoffs. He had one arm, basically. His shoulders jacked up, and he's just wrecking dudes.
Yeah.
He is absolutely wrecking dudes. And I think you get him into a place where he's got some populace around him that can help.
Right.
You could let him pin his ears back and let him go eat.
Gotcha.
It's going to be fun. Thanks for hanging for the hour.
This is going to be awesome. Let's just see that about a quarter after 7 tonight, it's Cameron Anthony Ward from Texas and played at University of Miami, and 6'1" and 5/8 and 219 pounds, and arms 30 and 5/8 inches, 9.5-inch hands. That's quite a story.
Yeah, it is quite a story.
It's going to be a hell of a night for the Titans.
Titans Radio, again, people can consume you guys beginning tonight at 6.
That is correct, and we're on the air till 9. We won't carry all of the first round just because The Titans are the show at number one, and they're staying at the number one.
That's right.
We'll keep you abreast of things as we go along, but tonight's story, if it's what we think it is going to be about a change of the franchise and a change of a new face in the franchise and where this is going from that. Now, Friday night, tomorrow night, we'll have bell-to-bell, pick-by-pick action, and it'll be much faster pace because obviously shorter time in between rounds.
Yep.
And we'll be moving, especially if they move down.
There he is, Rhett Bryan, executive producer of Titans Radio. More 3HL broadcasted live from Nissan Stadium. NFL Draft Edition. More next.
All right, big announcement tonight, obviously, for the hometown team. Another big announcement from your hometown car dealership, and that's Two Rivers Ford, now offering employee pricing for absolutely everyone. So that's you, me, Mayor, Slay, Rhett B, Cameron Ward, everybody, employee pricing for all of you at Two Rivers Ford. What you see is always what you get. And Two Rivers Ford is upfront and honest every single time. They don't tack on service packages to increase the price of their vehicles. And there's no better time to buy American right now. And there's no better dealership to do that with than Two Rivers Ford. They're locally owned and operated, been around for over 40 years, home of the non-commissioned sales team, and now home of employee pricing for everyone. It's from America, for America. That's Two Rivers Ford. Call my friends, the South's most trusted Ford dealer.
Good afternoon. It is 3:59. I'm Joe Spadano live from Nissan Stadium at the Titans draft party. That's right. It's NFL draft days. The Tennessee Titans are ready to select number 1 overall when the 2025 NFL draft begins at 7 p.m. tonight. You can get all your draft coverage right here on The Zone with Titans Radio starting at 6 p.m. following 3HL. In NFL news, according to Diana Rossini just a few moments ago, Browns general manager Andrew Berry has been actively listening to offers for the number 2 overall pick, and many believe he's willing to move a few spots back. In Tennessee football news today, safety Jacoby Thomas is entering the transfer portal, according to multiple reports. The MTSU Blue Raider turned volunteer played in all 13 games last season. He had 22 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, 1 sack, 2 pass breakups, and 1 fumble recovery. For our foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you need to visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Balls. This is 104.5 The Zone.
HL 104.5 The Zone. Britt Doherty with you on a beautiful day in the Music City. It is NFL Draft Day. Cameron Ward, will he be the name that you hear at about 7:15 tonight with the NFL Draft coming from the Commissioner Roger Goodell? Don Davenport has been all over Cameron Ward forever. That doesn't sound good, but you've never wavered.
Stood
Never
right
wavered.
And
Because I maintain, I know there's a lot of holes, but I maintain if you ain't got a quarterback, you ain't got Shiano.
that is definitely true, and I'm solidly on board with that too. Have been for a while. I know myself. I kind of flip a little bit on
That's
things.
why you're the mayor.
But yeah, so like during the potential to trade back, just the idea of acquiring more draft capital was an exciting possibility as well for me personally. But once you dive into this guy, man, I think you can't help but get excited. Ron Slay is here, y'all. So you've got your 16 Traylon Burks jersey on.
Absolutely.
And you are now solidly behind Cameron Ward as the first pick for the Titans tonight.
Yes, I absolutely am. I got on the hype train at the beginning of the week. I sat back this weekend, thought about it for a minute, and said, you know what? Like, you know I'm a big fan of believe what your eyes show you. So believe what your eyes showing you, man. Like, I'm hearing the conversations. I'm hearing him speak about it. You see the game that he talks and goes and backs up. You see the command that he has in the locker rooms that he walks in, the respect that he gets from his peers, being able to talk to Babs with her, going to cover the game, seeing it up close and personal. That did a bit.
Yeah.
Hearing Louis Riddick talk about it. Like, these are all
That
coming
really
from
got you.
Yeah, that did it. Like, it was like, I'm like, all right, okay, wait a minute now. I mean, because you always going to get talking heads to say things, but like Babsy came back and was standing on it.
Yeah.
He's been standing on it from the beginning, too. And everybody that you hear, even without comps.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, even without comps, he stands alone. And that's what has been missing. And you need it. If you can get that with a quarterback, we need it so bad.
And obviously they need an edge rusher. But during the Abdul Carter discussion, I always came back to Babs covered a game that he did, too. And she was still standing on Cam Ward.
Yep.
So I think it's interesting. It's going to be fun and kind of a new era, a new day, and you can move forward with tonight's pick. The 2025 NFL Draft is almost here. Stay tuned to 104.5 The Zone to get all of the latest news and information each day leading up to the draft, which is today. Thanks to Parman Tractor and Equipment. Download the 104.5 The Zone app and take us anywhere so you don't miss anything. Then tune in today and tomorrow to hear every selection. Thanks to Parman Tractor and Equipment, your authorized excavator and truck loader dealer. For more information, visit 1045thezone.com. Titans Radio takes over at 6.
You know who else I want this done for, Euro?
Yeah.
Big Jeff. Big Jeff got to get something positive going in his life. In his football life. Like in his like
in
he
his
does,
football
dog.
life.
Yeah,
yes.
like he has to, man.
Yeah.
Like this is
Like
I don't like to see
at
people
least get
suffer.
some help on the offensive
Yeah,
side
man,
of the ball.
because we'll figure it out defensively. Like, they ain't doing a bad job defensively, especially the guys alongside him. They finding a way. You got some young talent in the secondary. You can keep it all together and keep guys healthy. Got to figure out what we're going to do in that middle with that linebacker spot. But other than that, and get some edge. But, no, Big Jeff and them will find a way.
There's a lot to figure out.
It was just offense and special teams was so bad last year.
Mm-hmm.
And I offense was bad because of the line.
Yeah.
Partially because of the line on one side of it. And then your quarterback play. It was like it cost you games. Not was it just bad, but it literally cost you games. That and special teams. So you went out, you got a new special teams coordinator who was a legend in the game, in Bones.
Mm-hmm.
And then you shored up the offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
You had a year under the belt for Big Callahan to go out and find guys that he understands and feels he can make work. Not a rush job and, like, let's patchwork this in. But
well, and he's gotten rid of a
a
lot
lot
that was here.
Yeah, so that says something. All right, give me a minute to get my guys. And you got another guy in Brian Callahan who finally can go out and say, you know what, give me this guy to make this work and let me bring him along in my system with me having hands on him. Not two other coordinators or, you know what I'm saying, him walking into the professional game and me developing. Well, Will Levis didn't have. So, come on, Big Jeff needs
615-737-1045 if you want in.
Maybe they can get him an edge piece, too.
Maybe so, man. I'm with that, too.
They definitely
That
will.
would be nice.
There will be an edge player drafted, at least one. There will be at least one wide receiver drafted as well.
Yep.
Looky here.
Hey, look.
I love the pants, dude. Congrats.
Lit up, baby.
Good to see you, man.
We
What's
are
up, brother?
we're
How
live
you
on
doing,
air,
man?
by the way. No,
Yeah,
you're
you
good.
cool.
You're good.
That's
What's up,
Taylor Zarzar,
How you doing, man?
the voice of the Tennessee Titans.
Uh-huh.
Kirby, you want to put a headset on for a couple minutes? Do you have time? Sure. We only have a couple minutes in the segment anyway. Taylor Zarzar, the
Yay.
new
So we
voice
have-
of the Titans, walking
Grab that seat
in
right by Babs.
in his Titans gear, and
Look at these pants.
got the Columbia blue pants.
I need
Absolutely love 'em.
to, yeah. Here, let me get this.
You're a little more
wire.
Titans festive than me. I do have a tight shirt under my zone polo, but
I didn't mean to totally disrupt this broadcast.
you're good, dude. I'm glad you came in, man.
I just wanted to give Dawn a hug. That's all.
You told us
I'm
when
so
you
happy for you.
when you got the job, she happened to be off that day, and she was like, "Damn it, why are y'all putting him on? I'm not there."
I know.
So now you're
Like,
side by
come
side,
on. I love it.
and you guys have. For those that don't know, you guys have worked together before.
We've
Yes.
done a lot of different SEC football games together, spring games, you name it. Yeah.
Spring game. Did we do Arkansas?
Kentucky, maybe?
Kentucky, yes. Doreen was with us, I think.
Dangerous Chris
My
Doring.
guy, yeah.
I knew immediately light bulb would go off. And
Yes.
she's like, oh, that's right.
Oh,
Dangerous
that's right.
Chris Doring.
Doreen
Yeah.
was with us, and if you ever go out in Lexington with Chris Doreen, you will never forget it.
Just Lexington?
Oh, okay.
You go
in
out with Doring
general,
anywhere.
right?
Anywhere.
You're not gonna forget it.
Anywhere, yes.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
Congratulations again
Yeah,
on
most
the
definitely.
job. And
I'm coming to hang with you guys tomorrow, but
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
wanted to come by and say hello. I'm so pumped to be here.
Appreciate that.
so,
man.
if the pick is Cameron Ward, what do you think about the quarterback from Miami?
If, in fact, that is what is going to happen, I'm a big believer in him. I think if you look at his history, this guy had one scholarship offer to Incarnate Word in college, and he became the best player at that level, the best player at Washington State, the best player at Miami, the best quarterback in America. Like, this guy is not afraid of pressure and not afraid to prove himself. And he very quickly, if you watched Miami play football last year, you saw his leadership. This guy is fearless as a quarterback. People say, well, he maybe has a little bit of Brett Favre, a little bit of Patrick Mahomes, and he takes a lot of chances. I think he did a lot of that because he thought that Miami had to outscore everybody last year.
That's a great point.
And he had to get a touchdown every time he was on the field.
Because their defense was bad for a stretch.
It really
Yeah.
was. But I do think that if you look at how quickly he became the leader of the team, that is what excites me more than anything about him, is just how somebody can be a total stranger. And when they're playing Florida in the swamp, he absolutely is the leader of that football team immediately and was throughout the season as well. So I don't think he's afraid of any stage. He's never been afraid of any stage he's been on before. So if that is who the Titans select tonight.
I only use that word because you're here.
Thank you.
I haven't
Yeah,
used
we've
the
been
if
talking
word.
about it's a done deal.
Yeah,
So
but,
yeah,
but
we
because
just
you're
did it
here,
because you're, you know.
and Brett was here, and you
That's
guys are
right.
Titans Radio and all this stuff. But
Yes.
yeah, I mean, I think everybody's kind of down the excited path now with this quarterback, and that's how you win in this league.
You have to have it, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You do. You have to have it. If you don't have a game changer at the quarterback spot, then you're picking near this pick on an annual basis.
Yep.
And you can have
Don't
a great
we know?
you can have a great defensive line. You could have a great look at Cleveland, who has, I think, the best defensive player in the game. You know, they didn't have a quarterback last
Right.
season. So Myles Garrett can be the best player on earth. It doesn't matter.
Yep.
You've got to have a great quarterback.
And he wrecks shop like that. Tell me what this because I missed it when you first came in as well, just like Babs. But what does this mean? Sitting in this spot now, you're the voice of the Titans, #1 pick. Like, is it any other way to usher into a job?
Well, I love Babs to death. I love college football. I love calling golf.
Yeah.
This is the chance of a lifetime. I mean,
Yeah.
it really is. It's the most excited I've ever been. I keep thinking, what would 12-year-old Taylor think of this?
Yeah.
You know, and being the extension of a community that I love, a community that I started my radio career in, my broadcasting career really, and to get to come back here. My wife went to Swanee. Most of our friends live here.
Yeah.
For years, we've all been joking with our friends about how we were going to come back here one day. I never imagined this is how we would come back here.
funny.
But I am over the moon. Listen, I love Mike Keith to death, and
Yeah.
we're going to celebrate him. I want to rename the booth down the hall here, the Mike Keith booth,
Right.
and in the new stadium, I think that's what it should be called. But I'm going to be me. I'm going to your point, it's a new era of
Yeah.
Titans football.
Yep.
A new general manager,
Yep.
second-year coach,
So much
a new
new,
pick
yeah.
of the draft.
Yep.
You know,
New quarterback.
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
New stadium coming.
Yeah.
I mean, it feels a lot like Titans 2.0 right now,
Mm-hmm.
and so it is. It is an exciting time to do this.
I already knew that I loved Taylor, but I turned on PGA radio on because I had to go do some stuff during the Masters, and the first thing I hear is you quoting song lyrics, talking about a golfer, and I was like, "This is my guy."
I know you love that. Yeah.
That's a huge part of my life, music. So
Yeah.
I went to an Eric Church show in this facility right here.
Yeah.
Babs, I think you were here.
I
that
was
night. You
here,
texted me that
yes.
night.
I texted you.
And Eric likes to, and a lot of other people, self-included, like to say it was the biggest sellout in the history of music here at Nissan Stadium. I think there's a little bit of debate about that with Taylor Swift and tickets or whatever, but
Yeah.
nevertheless, I've seen some great concerts in here, and I'm very excited about seeing some great concerts in the new stadium when that happens.
It's amazing how much they've done. I haven't been down here to see it in a long time, but it's so much bigger than this place. It's going to be 94
gosh,
feet
crazy.
taller than Nissan Stadium, but you can really see progress over there. And thanks for hopping in, man. I know you were just coming in to hug her, but glad you popped on. I know you've got
We're
Titans radio
excited.
responsibilities tonight a little bit, and we'll have you on tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm going to come hang with you guys tomorrow, and we'll get excited about the second round.
That's exactly
Yes.
right. Taylor Zarzar, new play-by-play man for the Tennessee Titans. More 3HL when we come back. Greg Cosell from NFL Films going to break down the tape of Cam Ward, among other players, next. 3HL 104.5 The Zone.
Want to tell you about Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville. You might be surprised to learn how affordable replacement windows are from Pella Windows and Doors. Even more affordable thanks to the Dawn deal I got going for you in April. 55% off qualifying installations and no interest if paid in full within 12 months. No promo payments due, plus Dawn deal. Additional $250 off your project. Let's go. They are celebrating 100 years in business this year. So you know they do things right. You know you can trust them. And you know you want to jump in on that Dawn deal. And you can visit them 2 places. They've got a showroom in Franklin, 277 Mallory Station Road. Also a showroom in Hendersonville, right there at the corner of East Main and Indian Lake Boulevard. Check them out. They're the best. Schedule your free consultation online. Tell them to give you that Dawn deal. 615-249-1910. Easiest thing to do is go online, PellaNashville.com.
3HL 104.5 The Zone, broadcasting live from Nissan Stadium. The NFL Draft is tonight. And we anticipate hearing Cameron Ward's name about 3 hours from now from the commissioner, Roger Goodell, in Green Bay. And we've got complete coverage on The Zone all day today, obviously all day tomorrow. We're going to have a special Friday show. That's about all I can say about it right now. But Taylor Zarzar did mention, the play-by-play guy for the Titans, nice enough to come by the booth to say hello, did mention that he will be on with us, and he will at 3 o'clock tomorrow. So we look forward to spending some extended time with him. This is, since the start of the league year, first time since 1967 that all 32 teams have had a first-round pick. Also the first time no trades in the first round this late since 2014. Couple of nuggets for you there. Greg Cosell joins us as he does every Thursday at 4:20 from NFL Films. Got the install coming up. Greg, I know you're excited about that.
I'm very excited about it, Brent. Really looking forward to being there next week.
Analog Hotel, the Analog at the Hutton Hotel, and Brian Callahan will be a part of this, and you'll be breaking down what we experienced Titans draft-wise over the course of the next 3 days. And I know it's been a big event the last couple of years, and we anticipate it being a lot of fun. And I know you have fun with it too, because you use it as an opportunity to learn from the head coach of the Titans as well.
Yeah, but the fans are great. I mean, it's hopefully, I think a lot of people that come probably listen on the radio, and they ask great questions. It's a great group of people, and I really enjoy it. I'm really looking forward to it again.
1045thezone.com for more information. All right, let's do this last 2025 NFL Draft evaluation. You spend millions of hours dissecting tape, and you're the best film guy in football. Let's start with Cameron Ward, quarterback from Miami. What does the tape show you, Greg?
Let's do this. We don't want, because of next week, let's do this. Let's just give a few tidbits and hopefully, leave the brunt of it for next week at the install. But I will tell you this. When I finished watching Cam Ward in mid-February, because I try to do all the main quarterbacks before the Combine, because the Combine has its own little radio row, kind of like the Super Bowl, not as big as you guys know. So, of course, I get asked about all the quarterbacks. That's the first thing. And so I finished Cam Ward in mid-February. And that was from this year. I'd watched 9 games from the University of Miami. And last summer, I watched 7 games when he was at Washington State. And I watch, every play. I'm not just watching, highlights. Obviously, I have the coaching tape. I watch every play. And when I finished watching Ward, and I thought there was meaningful improvement from 2023 to 2024, and I thought that he was a legit first-round pick kind of player. And I actually thought that if he was in last year's draft, and I got asked that question 100 times, I think he would have been in the conversation. And in fact, I spoke with an offensive coach who's been in the league 35 years, and he thought the exact same thing. I thought Ward was a big-time prospect, high-level traits. I know someone at Washington State, had the opportunity to speak to them, and they told me that he's a dog, that he's very accountable, that he's got a great mentality, all the good things, that there's no issues with him at all. But I thought the tape told me that he was a really high-level prospect. And, assuming it works out this way, I think we all feel pretty confident that that's going to happen in less than 3 hours. I think it's absolutely the right move by the Titans.
Yeah, it's interesting because you like to see, like, hot take guy on social media or whatever, which is not you, but try to
At all.
It's almost like people like to build people up to tear them down on some level. But like I keep seeing that if he would have been in last year's quarterback group that had 6 in the first round, that he would have been 7th. But you don't see it that way.
I personally don't believe that. But
okay.
But it's funny when I said what I said, and at the Combine, everybody viewed it as a hot take, because nobody had really, he wasn't viewed that way. And over the last 2-3 weeks, he's clearly been viewed that way. And look, people can disagree. I get that. That's okay. What I do is based purely on tape, and I think that he's very, very worthy of a first pick in a draft.
Love it. Okay, you'll get a more in-depth and detailed look at the live edition of the install at the Hutton Hotel analog at the Hutton Hotel. Again, 1045thezone.com. All right, let's move to Travis Hunter. A lot of talk today that the Cleveland Browns are perhaps looking to get out of that number 2 pick, and somebody might want to trade up to get Travis Hunter. Let's break him down. What is he as a corner? What is he as a wide receiver?
Well,
what's your take?
It's really going to be interesting, Brent and guys, because, look, physically, the guy obviously is special, and no one has done what he's done in terms of playing the number of snaps on a weekly basis. And I think we all acknowledge that he's special, and that's incredible. But the big issue with playing on both sides is the preparation. It's not on Sunday. Maybe he can just on Sunday play 110 snaps or 115 snaps. But it's the preparation, because think of it this way. If a head coach, I'm in the Philadelphia area. Okay. So Nick Sirianni, they obviously won the Super Bowl. Let's say he goes into Vic Fangio, and Vic Fangio has been coaching a long time, and he's really good. He's one of the best. And Nick Sirianni goes into Vic Fangio on a Wednesday and says, "Hey, coach, he's not going to be with you today. He's going to be with the offense because, for whatever reason." Well, Vic Fangio is going to say, "Well, you know what? I'm putting in 10, 15 new concepts today for the game this week. And if he's not with us, then he's not going to know what they are. And I got to tell you, coach, I'm not going to feel comfortable playing him, because if he makes a mistake and we give up a 60-yard touchdown, we lose the game." So it's not the fact that he is not physically capable of doing it. It's the preparation, because these guys, particularly on the defensive side of the ball, there are so many wrinkles and nuances and subtleties to playing defense. I mean, I've talked to coaches who say, well, we have 10 versions of cover 3. We've got 10 versions of cover 4. You can't just show up and do that. That's all preparation. And how NFL coaches are about that. So that, to me, is the question. It's not whether he's physically capable. It's the preparation part.
That's interesting, right? I hadn't thought about that.
No, I hadn't thought about that at all. Is his tape better as a DB or a wideout?
I'll answer that this way, Dawn. I think as a wideout, he wasn't asked to do a lot. They ran a ton of tunnel screens, and obviously he's really dynamic with the ball in his hands. He goes from 0 to 60 in a heartbeat. I think that makes him someone that offenses would want, because what do offenses want? They want guys who can score touchdowns from anywhere on the field. Mm-hmm. I think as a defensive back, as a corner, Dawn, he's always been the best athlete. So his technique is not very good at all, but he's so gifted athletically that he can get by. Although it's funny, he's been beaten over the top. I remember last year, because I watched his defensive back tape last summer when he played corner, and he got beat over the top a few times because his technique is just not very good. And it would result in him being a little sticky in his transitions because he just wasn't in good position with his body. But that he can be taught. He's obviously a very good athlete. So I would probably say that his tape overall might be better as a receiver. Now, it's interesting what Brent said about Cleveland, and we'll see what happens as the draft progresses, in the next couple hours, and then when we actually go on the clock. If Cleveland drafts him, they've got 2 really good outside corners. I would think if Cleveland drafts him, I would think they'd be drafting him to predominantly play wide receiver, because they have Martin Emerson and Denzel Ward at corner. So, again, I don't know. None of us know for sure. But my sense would be if they draft him, then he's being drafted more as a wide receiver.
Man, they need a quarterback too.
Well,
in terms of Cleveland,
I mean, it's funny. The Giants and the Browns obviously, both signed quarterbacks that you'd think, well, they need a quarterback, but I don't think they would be taking one that early in the draft because of who they signed. And fans could say, well, they signed guys who weren't that good, but they still signed them. That's the thing. They signed him.
Yeah, it's Joe Flacco and Kenny Pickett, if people are wondering about.
Yeah, and the Giants have Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston. So, so I don't think you sign those guys if you then plan on drafting a quarterback in the top 5, but I guess time will tell.
A guy that I want to ask you about on film is Abdul Carter, but I want to skip over him first, Greg, and go to – what's the big fella? Will Campbell? Am I getting it right?
Will Campbell?
From LSU. Yeah, from LSU. If he were to go, you've seen the way Coach Vrabel coaches, the way he likes to play in the trenches. If he were to go to New England, what does he bring, and what do you see on tape from him?
Yeah, he's a fascinating guy, Slay. And just think of this. There are 64 starting offensive tackles in the NFL. 32 teams, 2 on each team that start. There are 64 of them. Only 4 in the entire league that start have arm length less than 33 inches. Now, some people could say that doesn't matter, but that's not a random thing that only 4 have arm length less than 33 inches, and Will Campbell does. So, I spoke to an offensive line coach who's been in the league 35 years. He's a guy that I know well, and he said, I'm not playing him at tackle. He says, I'm just not doing that. He's an exception. I'm not basing, my O-line on a guy that is an exception. And in fact, he said to me, I view him as Skoronski. I view him as a very similar guy, a guy who played left tackle for 3 years at a high level in college, but is not an offensive tackle in the NFL. Now, that's one guy. But I just wanted to throw out that fact about offensive tackles in the league, because that's not random. There's a reason. And 33 inches is very much a demarcation line for a lot of coaches when it comes to offensive tackles. Now, I think Campbell is a good prospect, Slay. I think his tape is good. It's always easy to say he started for 3 years and played well in the SEC. And that's an easy thing to say, for people who don't study. And maybe he'll be a great tackle. Because I think if New England drafts him, I think Vrabel's planning on playing him at tackle. But for those who have an opportunity and want to, you should take a look at the Arkansas game when he went up against Landon Jackson. Landon Jackson is over 6'6", has pretty long arms, and Landon Jackson had really, really good reps against Campbell. And Campbell struggled on a number of them. And Jackson, in fact, had a sack. I think he had a couple of quarterback hits. Now, Campbell blocked them, too. When you play, 75 snaps, obviously there's good plays and bad plays. I don't want people to think Jackson ate him up on every play. But it was just an example where you saw that the arm length was a little bit of an issue in that particular game against that particular player.
Can we do Landon Jackson real quick, because that might be a potential Titans pick in the second round? Can you go into more depth into him?
I loved his tape. I watched him last summer, and then, of course, I watched him this year. I really like his tape. And he was a guy I happened to have gotten done before the Combine. And then when I watched him at the Combine, he was much more fluid and flexible than I think a lot of people thought, because they see a guy that's long. He's generally athletic, but normally guys that long are not necessarily twitchy and sudden. And while I wouldn't necessarily describe him that way, Brent, he's a little more explosive than people might think. And I really liked his tape a lot. Arkansas played, as a lot of teams do, they played him inside a lot at what we call a 4-eye, which is inside the offensive tackle. And they did that in their base defense. To me, he's an edge player. Maybe you bring him inside in your sub front on third down to rush the quarterback. But what he is as a player is he's a defensive end. I really like the player a lot. To me, if he got drafted late in the first round, that would not surprise me.
Okay. Interesting. Greg Cosell, NFL Films, with us on draft day.
Abdul Carter.
Yes.
That's that's like this.
Slay said earlier today, he was like, okay, I don't understand. What does he do on the field that has everybody overlooking the injuries and the only 1 year with his hand in the dirt?
Everybody talking about top 3 pick.
So, right. Cosell, tell him.
Well, I think what people are responding to is, number one, he played really well with his hand in the dirt. And they also moved him around quite a bit. On third down a lot, Slay, he would stand up in the middle of the defense in what we call the joker position and rush the quarterback versus inside offensive lineman, where obviously he's much quicker. But you're just looking at a truly explosive, sudden athlete. There's not a lot of guys that move like that. So that's what you're drafting. You're drafting a guy that's 6'3", 250 pounds, somewhere in that range, because I don't know what his numbers are because he didn't get measured at the Combine, but I'm sure he's right in that area. And he's a truly explosive athlete. Now, I think he needs to work on the power element to his game, and that's something they're going to have to work on with him. But he just is a truly explosive athlete, and you draft him expecting that he's only going to get better because the traits are so good as a physical athlete. and you can move him around, which is always a positive. So that's what you're drafting.
Was his size okay when you watched his film?
Yeah, I mean he's built differently than Micah Parsons, but he's essentially the same size.
Okay.
So yeah, the size is not an issue.
Okay.
So real quick, Cosell, on him, what would be a negative?
The power element to his game. It's not there yet. And, most offensive tackles will tell you that the power element is the number one issue that you have to have as a pass rusher, in order to really beat, a tackle. Because most tackles, that's the biggest issue for them. So that's something he definitely has to work on. A lot of that comes from how you use your hands, those kinds of things. It comes from, how many tools you have in your toolbox. So that's something he's got to work on. But just the pure explosiveness that would be the best in this class.
Okay. All right. Let's go pick 35. Maybe they go wide receiver, despite the signing of Lockett. What about Jaden Higgins from Iowa State? What do you see there?
Love him. Oh, he's one of my favorite guys. I did him last summer. I did him this year. He's over 6'4". He moves really well. He's not one of those just big, possession guys. There's some quickness to him. He has some vertical ability. You can line him up inside or outside. He's a guy that I've loved beginning from last summer. I just really, really like his tape a lot. And I'm really anxious to see where he goes. I probably like McMillan a little more and the kid from Arizona, but I don't think there's a huge difference between those two guys.
Staying down the wide receiver path real quick, Luther Burden is a guy that we all fell in love with a couple of years ago, obviously, at Missouri. Their offense changed when they lost the running back. Production down this year. He apparently, for whatever reason, and we've all seen these rumors and things, that is sliding in terms of where people think he might go. He might be there at 35. In terms of what you see on tape from this wide receiver from Missouri, what do you find?
Well, if he's there at 35, I would take about 10 seconds to get the card up. Luther Burden has everything you want. I mean, he's a 3-level dimension. He may not be as terrifyingly explosive as someone like Jamison Williams, but he definitely can run. He can get on top of the defense. He's really good run after catch. He's not a small guy. I mean, we're talking about a guy that's over 200 pounds. So it's not like he's a quick little guy. I mean, he's got good size. Again, what his numbers were this year, given their whole situation with the offense, that doesn't matter to me. It's just watching his tape and seeing his traits. And, to me, he's he's worthy of a first-round pick. But, again, I don't know why, quote-unquote, he dropped. I spoke to someone. There's no issue with him as an individual, character-wise, none of that. So I can't speak to that, Brent. But if Luther Burden is there at 35, I would take him in a heartbeat.
Interesting.
One more wide receiver real quick, guys. Trey Harris from Ole Miss.
I did not love Trey Harris. He's big. He didn't run real well. I mean, he ran a 4.54. When I watched him, even though he made vertical plays at times at Ole Miss, as I watched him, I thought to myself, is he going to be a vertical guy in the NFL? I don't know the answer to that. I'm not sure. He caught a ton of hitches at Ole Miss. They just, that's what they did. There was one particular play, I think it was against Kentucky. It was, I believe, a 48-yard touchdown where I actually saw that play and said, oh, I'd really love to see more of that. That looked like what I think he's going to have to do in the NFL. So you could argue, oh, it's in his body, but I'm not sure right now. I don't view him as a first-round type player. He's got good size, but, I'm just not sure he's a vertical guy despite that size.
Sorry, Slade. So Big Jeff would certainly hope that they would go edge with that pick.
That's what he said multiple times.
Yes, multiple times, or even move back. I know we hit on Landon Jackson, who you love, but a name that has started to really come up and could be in the position where the Titans are on day 2, Donovan Ezaraku from BC. Do him? What do you think?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, no, at this point, I think I've done about 250 guys. So, yeah, I've done him. I liked him too. He's not tall, but he has really long arms, and that's a big deal. That's become something that coaches really, really look at. I mean, he's only 6'2 1/4", but his arm length was over 34 inches. That's a big deal. I thought that he really used his arm length well. He had short stroke power. He had quick, forceful strikes, which, he kept his legs clean, and that maximized his quickness. I thought he was able to win on the high side. He was able to counter inside on the low side. He had bend, he had flexibility, he had balance, he had body control. I like this kid. It'll be really interesting because, there are some, teams have all these critical factors that they have. And some teams, he's only 6'2". Some teams might say, well, we don't want a pass rusher unless he's 6'3". You never know. And he was 248, so he's not big. But as I said, he does have long arms, but he had everything else. I thought that I thought he was a good prospect. We'll see where he goes.
Okay. Well, and that size is maybe why he was at a BC and not at a SEC place, So
that's very possible. Yeah, no, that you're 100% right because obviously BC, no knock on BC, came out of New Jersey. He was only a 3-star recruit, so obviously my guess is he was not being recruited by SEC type schools.
Yeah, no doubt. Okay, interesting.
Stevie wants to know Savion Williams, TCU.
Yeah, he's an interesting guy because he was used in so many different ways at TCU. I mean, he's ultimately going to be a receiver, obviously, but you're dealing with a guy, that they used him in the backfield. They used him on as a Wildcat quarterback. I mean, he did so many things for that defense, for that offense. A lot of people might think that he was a lot like a Cordero Patterson. You guys probably remember him at Tennessee a number of years ago. That's what in the NFL, he's turned out to be kind of a Swiss Army knife. He doesn't have a ton of experience at wide receiver, so he needs meaningful work there as far as running routes with all the subtleties and nuances that are necessary. That could be a process, but, you're dealing with a big kid that can run. And again, guys like that, somebody might, come up and grab him and think, okay, I can turn this guy into a great receiver. Tough to draft a guy and think, well, he's a gadget guy, and that's why I'm drafting him high. You got to turn this guy into a receiver, and then maybe once in a while you use him. And he doesn't compare necessarily to Deebo Samuel, but Deebo Samuel is a receiver he was used in San Francisco in other ways, but he's a receiver first and foremost. That's what Savion Williams is going to have to be, but he's got big play generation ability. I mean, he can run. I mean, this kid's a big kid, and there's not a lot of guys 6'3", 7'8" who run like this kid.
Cosell, who is the second best quarterback that you saw on tape, do you think?
The second best quarterback that I saw on tape will not be the second quarterback taken, but the quarterback that, in my view, had the second best tape was Tyler Shuck. But he won't be the second quarterback taken.
No, but he is an interesting prospect that a lot of people are talking about that you can find some value with.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
crowd.
There's another guy that I spoke about very early on, and then in the last 2-3 weeks, a lot of people started talking about him, but I had done him early in the process. Actually, Louis Riddick told me about him because he had done some Louisville games. So Louis told me during the season because he was in our building every week. And so I watched him pretty early in the process, and his tape was really good.
What? Why?
Why was it
what
good?
Stood out? Yeah.
Well, Dawn, you do games, so you stand next to players, right? I mean, you do games. You're on the field, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So when you see a guy that's 6'5", that's a trait. I mean, I remember being at the Combine last year, okay, and I get on the field, fortunately. So I'm standing next to Caleb Williams and Drake May. Neither one worked out, but they were right there. And Caleb Williams looked like a 9th grader, and Drake May is close to 6'5", and he just looks like a big freaking dude. I mean, I've stood next to Josh Allen, who's 6'5". These guys are big. Tyler Shuck is 6'5". He's big. He's got a good arm, throws the ball really well, moves well, made a lot of off-platform throws this year at Louisville. I mean, his tape was really, really good. But size is a trait. Now, can you play at a smaller size? Of course you can. I mean, look at Baker Mayfield. He's 6 feet. He's become a really good quarterback. You know, you can play smaller than 6'4", 6'5", but that's a trait.
So last one on the
gotcha.
way out, Shedeur Sanders. What is your take on him? Because there's a wide range when people are trying to tell me where he's going to go in the draft.
Well, I think he falls into that sort of 30,000-foot view of the quarterback position. The fact that there's so much emphasis now, deservedly so, because of the advancement of defenses and pressure schemes, that there's a feeling that quarterbacks, for the most part, unless they're truly special in the pocket, have to be able to make plays outside of structure. Sanders, there's an uncertainty to that. You know, he's smaller. He doesn't have a great arm. It's good enough, not a great arm. He's not a great athlete. He doesn't manage the pocket exceptionally well. So he's a lesser prospect than C.J. Stroud. When Stroud came out of Ohio State, and Stroud was somewhat similar in terms of being a pocket quarterback. Stroud threw it better and is bigger. So I think there's a sense that Sanders is a guy that, and people listening might say, well, everybody needs team. I think people know what I mean. You know, the Mahomes, the Allens, the Jacksons, the Burrows, they can make plays that go beyond just their team. Whereas I think there's a sense that Sanders, and it may well be true, that he's a distributor and an executor, and he needs the team. So the question is, unless you view that guy, that kind of quarterback, as truly special, is that guy a top 5 or top 10 pick? And I think a lot of people in the league would say no.
So maybe a better fit for a better team, maybe at the end of the first round if he goes in the first round.
Yeah, and you need team, for that. And again, he could turn out to be a very, very good quarterback, but I think that's the feeling. I don't want to make a direct comparison to Mac Jones because people would laugh, but in a sense, Mac Jones was that kind of quarterback in college. And, he had the really good first year in New England, and then it kind of fell apart. New England became a bad team, and there was just no one around him. The O-line was horrible, and he just couldn't play.
There he is. He's Greg Cosell with NFL Films, NFL Matchup Show as well. You need to check out their draft program on the ESPN properties and the Install Live podcast May 2nd at the Analog at the Hutton Hotel. You can get tickets online, 1045thezone.com. Cosell and Buck Rising and Brian Callahan and a ton of fans. It's going to be a fun night, 1045thezone.com. Thank you, Greg.
Appreciate it, Cosell.
All right, guys, have fun tonight.
We will indeed. All right, more 3HL when we come back. Stay tuned. I want to tell you about my friends at Brentwood Jewelry, the Amamali family. Go in there and get to know these guys. They will be able to help you moving forward as they get to know you better with any of your gifting responsibilities. They've got an incredible selection, anything you can think about jewelry-wise, and they've got you covered. Brentwood Jewelry, located in the heart of Brentwood, 7012 Church Street. BrentwoodJewelry.com is the website. Again, BrentwoodJewelry.com. If you haven't already heard, Nashville's premier timepiece dealer is Brentwood Jewelry. Not only do they have the best selection in watches, but they are also the go-to spot for pre-owned Rolexes, both vintage and current models. You can own a fine pre-owned Rolex for a fraction of the cost. Every watch has been meticulously serviced to ensure the highest level of performance and is presented with a 2-year warranty. Brentwood Jewelry, exceptional style, exceptional deals every day for more than 50 years. Again, 7012 Church Street in the heart of Brentwood, just off Franklin Road. BrentwoodJewelry.com.
When the car accidents happen, you need a number on speed dial. That would be bar door injury law. You want to always have that number nearby. Just like you have your mom, your dad, your parents, whoever your guardian is, have that number. I'm sure you need this number too because you want to have somebody fighting for you. Life can change in an instant, and you need this. 615-242-9000. 615-242-9000. Car wreck can throw everything off. Your job, bills, peace of mind, so much more. That's when you need our good friends over at Bart Durham Injury Law to get on the job. Blair Durham and his team already got their gloves on, ready to box and fight for folks in Tennessee. They've been doing it for years. So no upfront costs, no waiting around, just real people making sure you get what you deserve. So if you've been injured, don't wait. call BDIL. That is Bart Durham Injury Law at 615-242-9000. They're here 24/7 and ready to fight for you. Don't go at this alone. Call Bart Durham Injury Law.
HL 104.5 The Zone. Brent Doherty, Don Davenport, and Ron Slay with you. Broadcasting live from Nissan Stadium, the Titans draft party going on tonight. For more information on that, TennesseeTitans.com. 2025 NFL Draft, almost here. Stay tuned to The Zone to get all the latest news and info. The big news today, looks like Jacksonville. Diana Rossini, I think, tweeting out that word is that they want to make a splash tonight. There are already rumors that they want to get up to number 2, perhaps to take Travis Hunter. So we will see. Our coverage brought to you by Parman Tractor and Equipment. Download the 104.5 The Zone app and take us anywhere so you can not miss anything. Then tune in today, tomorrow, to hear every selection thanks to Parman Tractor and Equipment, your authorized Takahauchi excavator and track loader dealer. 1045thezone.com for more information.
Good job, man.
Takahashi.
2 most interesting people that I'm going to watch in this draft.
Okay.
Abdul Carter and Travis Hunter. The most intriguing in this draft.
Diana Rossini just tweeted that teams from the top 10 have told her that the Jaguars are going to make a splash tonight.
Right, and the rumors are they're trading up to 2 to get him.
What they giving up?
What do
Trading
they
up to get who?
have?
Travis Hunter?
Yeah.
From 5 to 2.
Well,
so they would
I get an up-close and personal look at him now.
Yeah.
Same division.
Interesting that Cosell said his defensive back tape is not good.
Yeah, man.
I mean, he
both of
straight
them.
said it's not good and that he got beat.
Last
And
year.
that his
Over the
fundamentals
top.
are awful.
Yep. I mean,
I mean, he sugarcoated it a little more, but read
No,
between
he
the
did say
lines.
fundamentals were awful.
But this is what you got to realize. Like that athleticism, it's got. You're not going number 2, and you're not having teams trade up for you if it's not something that you're phenomenal at.
That's exactly right.
I don't know which one
Different
it
in
is.
the league.
It was an interesting point that
Absolutely.
Cosell made too. That if he's going back and forth and positionally, and you got a defensive coordinator that wants to put 10 things new in for this game, and he doesn't have him that day because he's doing receiver work or whatever it is, then he, potentially could go to the head coach and say, "Well, I'm not playing him this week."
Yeah.
You know what? I hear Cosell on that one, but at the same time, I think it's one of those things. Like, don't forget, like he lived in the film room. Like when he wasn't playing football, he was either getting treatment or in the film room with Colorado. So
That's
I
right.
mean, like it ain't. I feel him.
It
I
will
feel
be
him on
fascinating to watch.
that.
It
is.
will. A lot of this will.
It is.
Again, Mike Detillier telling us yesterday, 18 first-round grades for players, not 32, like a lot of people think. 32 players will be selected in the first round, but not all of them obviously have first-round grades year to year, and it's 18. According to Mike Detillier yesterday. When we come back, former Atlanta Falcons general manager Thomas Demitrov from Assumer Sports will join us, and I think it'll be an interesting conversation to kind of go down the path of these talks like you're talking about. Like 10 teams are saying the Jaguars are going to make a splash tonight. How much is that phone ringing in the couple hours leading up to the draft, especially if you have a pick that high? We'll start there with him, Thomas Demitrov, next, 3HL, 104.5 The Zone.
All right, my favorite segment here. It is time for our weekly Tennessee sports trivia question.
Yes.
Thanks to Legacy Group at UBS Financial Services in Franklin. Boys, you got to pay attention to this one
Let's do
because
it.
it's your alma mater. How many women's basketball jerseys have been retired by the University of Tennessee?
7,
No.
8.
6.
I was close.
You want names?
You took it all. That Bridget Gordon,
Bridget Gordon,
Yep.
Yeah.
Tamika Catchings, Shamika Holtzclaw, Holly Warlick, Pat Summit.
No,
That don't
not
count
Pat.
anyway. That don't count.
Candace Parker
Anyway. Oh yeah, CP.
and
Candace Parker. Oh, yeah.
Deidre Charles.
Yeah, Deidre Charles.
Yep.
That's the there you go. Good job. You were
Darn.
close,
She was back in
Slay.
the day.
I knew you would be right
Doggone
there
it.
on it. There you go. That's our trivia question brought to you by the Legacy Group at UBS Financial Services in Franklin. If you have $1 million or more to invest and you want to do that with a local team, call financial advisors Jim Candela, Brent Thompson, or David Reynolds or Robert Reynolds. 615-721-4921. See if they can help you achieve your financial goals. For their client relationship summary disclosures, visit ubs.com/relationship summary. UBS Financial Services Incorporated, member FINRA/SIPC.
Good evening. It's 5:02. I'm Joe Spadano live from Nissan Stadium for the Titans draft party. That's right. It's NFL Draft Day. Tennessee Titans are slated to pick number 1 overall when the 2025 NFL Draft begins at 7 p.m. tonight. You can get all your draft coverage right here on the Zone with Titans Radio starting at 6 p.m. following 3HL. For every foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you need to visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Balls. This is 104.5 The Zone.
HL 104.5 The Zone. Brent Doherty with you on a beautiful day in the Music City. It is the NFL Draft Day here on 3HL and in Nashville and 31 other NFL towns. Don Davenport is here. Slay is here. And we've got you covered. Titans Radio taking over at 6 o'clock. And then Cameron Ward will be announced as the Titans' first-round pick and the overall number 1 pick here in about an hour, 2 hours and 15 minutes. Thomas Demitrov joins us now, but before we go to Thomas, hang tight. Don, this is the time period, you know, as a former general manager, that all kinds of crazy news comes out. Listen to this one.
And, I love the drama. I love the drama. Okay, Wesley Steinberg is a Giants insider or whatever, tweeted, Giants draft room is total chaos today. No clear plan or vision and frustration over the Jackson Dart interest being leaked. Giants are now worried about getting jumped for QB Jackson Dart. Good chance they now select him 3rd overall.
That is amazing.
Just off being nervous.
Thomas Demitrov joins us now, former general manager of the Atlanta Falcons, now with Sumer Sports. Thomas, what's up? How are you?
How you guys doing today?
How crazy are these draft rooms, like the couple hours leading up to the draft?
Well, you try as a general manager to keep it in check. I honestly did not try to get into that draft room until very close to the beginning for that very reason. I didn't want the tension of everyone, worrying about what was up and down. In the end, I did all of my work with the head coach in the office, in my own office, prior to going into the draft and that, 15 or 20 minutes before draft kicked off.
What's the highest pick you had when you were with the Falcons?
Highest pick was it was Matt Ryan at 3.
3 overall. So I'm just
Heck
curious,
of a pick.
like how much was your phone ringing from people wanting to get up there, and like how does it go right up into the draft as the draft is going on? Like how does that work?
Yeah, I mean, usually there's a lot of discussion. What I've discussed a lot with people recently is like I was very instrumental and involved, during draft time, like 2 weeks outside. I would reach out to most of the organizations and all of my contemporaries, and most of them are your buddies, right? When you're a general manager, you get along with most of the guys, and you call and you find out if they're interested in trading, and if they are in fact interested in trading a pick at one time or another. You start talking about general ideas of what the trade compensation would be, and then you just table it and say, look, we'll talk to you when we're on the clock. There's a lot of that going on, and it's a lot. When you're about ready to pick a quarterback with what Mike Bergonzi is about ready to do, like that is a huge deal. And at 1 overall, as you guys can imagine, I know it seems like it's a foregone conclusion. I heard you guys talking a little bit about the Giants situation. That is really wild to think that that's going on right now.
Crazy. Do you remember some of the offers you got back then?
Yeah, look, we would get offers all the time. I mean, we would have people say, look, we'd love to move up. And at that time, they'll remember, like you guys are now, like Tennessee is, we needed a quarterback no matter what. So all that sort of discussions about it, and some of them were really attractive. We could never have kicked off our time in Atlanta without Matt Ryan. Remember, he played for us for, I'd say, in 14 years, he had 1.5 injuries, 1.5 games missed on injury, right? But I will say very quickly, I got a call just before I'd say 20 minutes before the draft started that year, and there was all kinds of crazy rumors that Matt Ryan was going to get poached by Ozzie Newsome from the Baltimore Ravens. So I'm sitting in my office. Head coach Mike Smith comes in, and he's like, hold your water, man. Hold your water. It was a crazy thing. And then I get a call from an agent, a really well-renowned agent, who said to me the same thing. It's a bunch of crap. They're not going to do it. Hang tight. Do not trade up to the first pick overall. And the rest is history. We stayed there. We got Matt at 3. But the point is there's a lot of banter leading up to it. And there's a lot of BS flying around as well.
Yeah.
So looking at that
That's
draft,
crazy.
so Baltimore did take a quarterback, and it was Joe Flacco at 18. But so while those first two picks are going on, Jake Long, offensive tackle from Michigan, Chris Long, defensive end from Virginia that year, how nervous were you?
Oh, I was, no, there's no question I was nervous because I knew that if we didn't kick this, our time off in Atlanta with two neophytes, right? Myself as a first-time GM and Mike Smith as a first-time head coach, we weren't going to be in Arthur's good graces for very long. And Arthur's a great guy, and he changed my life, but also Arthur is a highly competitive businessman, and he's one of those guys after 2 years, you better have your stuff together because that third year will be hot. And believe me, I've been through that.
God, the similarities to what the Titans are right now and what they're going through with a brand new GM first time, it's eerie.
Moving
almost.
into a new building in a couple of years.
Yeah, like and Miss Amy being like, y'all better get it right. Somebody better get it right. That's crazy. Thomas, they think they maybe, if all the reports are correct, will get it right with quarterback with Cameron Ward. Just curious what you think about him as a prospect and about a number 1 overall pick with him.
Yeah, look, this is a draft, as we've talked, and you guys have probably talked about it ad nauseum. It's not like some of the other quarterback drafts. They're trying to figure out who that player is, the next quarterback after pick, maybe 1 is complicated with this group. How far down do some of these other quarterbacks strictly related to Cam Ward? I mean, look, I think the more that the research was done on him, the more people felt more and more comfortable with his abilities and all of the positives that he brings to the table, along with his athleticism, along with his ability to make plays on, with his arm or on his feet. I mean, those are vital things. I think the other thing that needs to be really well thought of, and we were very mindful with Matt Ryan, by the way. We did not shoot for the moon where we thought we were going to have to throw him 50 times a game, right? We brought the right people in. We surrounded Matt Ryan with the right people, from Michael Turner way back to, Tony Gonzalez in the years to come, and the right receivers, and we kept growing with Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan was an incremental leader and an incremental quarterback in the league. And I think if you do that with a guy like Cam Ward, he'll get better and better and make sure that you have the right system in place with a guy like that. And I think you have a really good chance to have a really good shot at. There's no guarantees. We know that in this league at that position. Just like there are a lot of mistakes at pass rushers, we know that what it is at quarterbacks. I just think you need all the other stuff in place. And you, as an organization, the last thing I'd say, you'd have to have your plan in place on how you handle him, how he leads, how you teach him to lead, how you teach him everything to be the true, pro quintessential quarterback in this league to survive.
Thomas Demitrov with us. Hey, Thomas, let me ask you this. How close is this draft war room and leading up to it? How relative is this to playing poker, high-stakes poker?
That's a really good point. I mean, there are no guarantees. We know that at everything. Just when you think you have it figured out, remember, it's playing high stakes poker, but it's also playing with 40 guys around you who are like in your ear the whole time. I'm talking about not only your scouting staff, but all the coaches. Remember, and all the coaches, they're self-serving. I'm not talking about the head coaches. I'm talking about all the position coaches are self-serving. They want you to draft the best player that's great for their unit, and we know that if any of us have played, they're always looking for that. So it is complicated. And I would always tell Arthur Blank, just sit over there and I'll deliver you the right information. I'm the person you needed to hear and talk to about this, not all the other people in your ear. It's kind of crazy.
The second part of this is we always hear about the number 1 pick, but what's the value in having that number 1 pick in round 2 as well, where the Titans lie?
It's a great place to be because the ability, this is a different situation, but the ability to move up if you need another position like wildly. I personally think in doing the evaluations that a great tight end in your organization along with the kickoff quarterback is a great way to bring a quarterback along. High percentage shot. I think it's vital to have legitimate tight end prowess on your football team.
Yeah. That's an interesting point. Thomas Dimitrov with us, Sumer Sports. former GM of the Atlanta Falcons. So I watched. I fell into the hole. I watched Draft Day the other day, which is a very entertaining movie. Have you seen it? And what did you think about it?
I have seen it, and everyone tells me that, hey, that, even my kids, like, that's you. I'm like, no, that's not me. But I will say there's some elements to it. I think it's good. It should be required watching, just like White Lotus should be required watching at this point in our lives.
Oh, my gosh, yes. I just dove into that. I don't know how I didn't know about that show, but I started and I realized I'm watching season 3, episode 1. I really need to go back. And so then I started it, Thomas, and then, I binged it. That's a great show. You're right.
I did the same thing. I binged.
Yeah.
It was good for me.
Yeah. So how do you like this draft setup? Obviously different now, but having the first round on its own night and then being able to kind of regroup and maybe even put your board together again, right? Like going into Friday and then do the same thing going into Saturday. I love how it's set up that way, but I'm curious from a front office scenario, is that a good way that this thing is set up now?
Oh, I agree with you. I love the way it's set up. It gives you a chance to sort of regroup, meet with your group at the beginning of the day of the next day, and have some legitimate time in it, right? Not just kind of wing it. I think it's great. I think it's one of the better decisions that has been made, to be honest with you, from the league standpoint.
All right, if you were the Titans and you have that round 2 pick, and you do, in fact, go Cameron Ward with your first overall pick, what are you doing there?
Well, as I just alluded to, or probably didn't allude to it, basically I would jump up and get aggressive in the early 20s, try to find that next best tight end that's still on the board at that time is what I would do. And then I'd get creative because remember, I was Trader Thomas. I was never the trade back guy as much. Yeah. But I would get aggressive.
I love that about you, brother.
What a great nickname.
Yeah, I think being aggressive on all of those, you can be really aggressive at the beginning of every one of those those areas, right, in each round. And I think you can land some legitimate players in the first 4 rounds that can be difference makers, of course.
I know you know how many holes this franchise or this team has right now, so hopefully they have a good couple of days here. We appreciate you.
Really appreciate you guys having me. Again, you guys have, with Mike Borgonzi, you have a good football man there who's going to do really good work for you. I believe that. I'm not just saying that to pat anyone on the back. You know, that's a good football man to be growing with for the years to come.
Love it.
Thank you, Thomas. Appreciate you, man.
All good. Thanks, all.
All right, former Atlanta Falcons general manager Thomas Demitrov. You can check him out with Sumer Sports, doing great work for those guys. When we come back, big savagery, Ramon Foster, just ahead of the draft from RK Dub, weekday mornings, 6 to 10 on 104.5 The Zone. Ramon Foster with his draft ideas next on 104.5 The Zone.
Happening, good people. Big Slate coming to you with PAI Medical. Now, you want to look and feel better about yourself? Well, this is your opportunity right here in 2025. You can be the one to set up where you go look in the mirror and say, yes, the full head of hair, that's what I've been wanting. Not that little sunroof. Close it up. Head, got a roof. That's what you want to have. Now, you got to understand this number you call. This will get you a free consultation, 615-376-6010. That is the number for WeGrowHair.com, PAI Medical. No one else in Tennessee has the hardest robotic FUE procedure, and We Grow Hair's high-density hair transplants that give you 2 times more hair in one procedure. So you have opportunities and different treatments to pick from. One is a 45-minute laser treatment, and another one is PRP treatments for men and women, backed by the only company that you should trust in thinning hair. That's We Grow Hair. Call them right now, 615-376-6010. WeGrowHair.com. Get you a free consultation right now.
4-5, The Zone, Britt Doherty, Don Davenport, Ron Slay. Broadcasted live from Nissan Stadium. We're in TV Booth 1, looking down at the festivities. The doors are going to open here for the Titans draft party at Nissan Stadium at 5:30. You can get more information on what they are doing at TennesseeTitans.com. But they've got inflatables down here. They've got, it looks like you can kick field goals. Look at that. 20-yard field goals. Cornhole. They've got Tito's Airstream, all kinds of things. Big stage up and ready. Also in the club level, there will be things to do as well. TennesseeTitans.com is how you get that done. Again, zone coverage of the NFL draft, thanks to our friends at Parman Tractor and Equipment. You can download the 104.5 The Zone app and take us anywhere so you don't miss anything. Tune in today and tomorrow to hear every selection thanks to Parman Tractor and Equipment, your authorized Takahashi excavator and track loader dealer. For more information, 1045thezone.com. Big Savage Ramon Foster joins us now. You can hear Ramon weekday mornings from 6 to 10 on 1045 The Zone, RK Dub. Ramon, almost here, man. What's going on? How are you?
Man, just getting ready, y'all. You're right, man. It is almost here, man. It feels like the fastest, shortest pre-draft I feel like we've ever had in a while since I've been covering it. Sometimes it gets long and drawn out. This time around, I feel like there's just been a lot of news and speculation. They kind of gave us a little bit of a hangnail, I feel like, longer this time around with this draft pick coming up. Number 1 overall.
Well, you lead me into what I wanted to start you with, and Babs and I were talking about this in the break, but it's been so status quo leading up to this draft, right? Like no moves, no trades. But now we're starting to hear some rumblings. Maybe Jacksonville goes up to 2 to get Travis Hunter. I'm wondering, despite it being vanilla and boring pre-draft, will it be exciting tonight, and will there be tons of drama tonight? That's what I'm waiting to see.
Man, you know what? I ain't ever had it be this quiet. I know Schefter tweeted out or posted that the Texans were swapping out like 6-round picks or something like that.
Yeah.
Like nothing at the top end of it. And I think it's because everybody needs are what they are, unless you're in a position to say, hey, yes, like a Travis Hunter. Jacksonville going to get a guy like that. Like, what is the purpose of actually doing it? Is it for defense? Is it for offense? Even with that storyline right there, man, it just doesn't make sense to me in a sense because, again, the team that needs a dynamic player like that, be Cleveland or the Patriots or the Giants, like it makes the most sense for them. That is the situation right there where it's just a little bit more greedy. And then I think the other side of it, too, is there is just only one headline quarterback in this year's draft. And then on top of that, there is no real Jamar Chase in this draft. The one guy that you want to speak about that is like those guys is probably more Travis Hunter, but you got a team in the Tennessee Titans that has a dire need for a quarterback. So that kind of deads that conversation. And then the last part I'll make, too, before throwing it back to you is just this. The guy that everybody wants to talk about isn't the guy that teams want. And that's Shedeur Sanders. We had, I think it was Daniel Jeremiah the other day we had on our show, and he was just of the mindset that Shedeur is the show of the store as far as the conversation goes. If he had tested, if he had played at the level that Cam Ward did on a team like that, I think there would have been more drumming up and excitement for this draft to kick off the way it is. It's just that Cam, it seems to be one of those Cameron Wards, from my understanding, is what he wants to be referred to moving forward. His camp does. Like Cameron Ward is a lunch pail, go do my job, stay out of my way, and watch me and my teammates get better type of guy. That isn't as necessarily as exciting as a Shedeur would have been, where you would have seen more of the optics and sound bites and the swag. Cam is a pure football player to me, and the way he goes about his job. I think Shedeur is too, but what you get with Cam is no bull crap.
That's interesting. I wonder, we're going with the name. This is the only thing I would be thinking, Savage. You tell me if I'm wrong, because I haven't heard anything come out about it as far as the name change. Mine would be, man, the media, I don't want y'all calling me Cam because y'all don't know me. That would be the only thing. I've been sitting there wrecking my brain like, why are you switching from Cam Ward to Cam Ward?
Well, just real quick, though, too, like Savage, we can just have this because it's this. Pat Mahomes did the exact same thing. His folks came out and said he's Patrick Mahomes, right? This is just one of those things I think as far as marketing. Like if you say Cam versus Cameron sounds a little bit more professional, just to be quite honest with you. And you're right. I think it's, hey, my people call me Cam. You know what I'm saying? Like not everybody.
Automatically.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if I call you Lil Ron, you know where that's coming from, right?
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? It's one of those things. It's better to go on it's better to go on a meeting. Hey, my name is Cameron. Like,
So do we
makes
need to
sense
call
me.
you Ronald?
No. Y'all call me Slay. That's what y'all call me. I might. You know what? I might get. You know what though? I might get bougie and go on and go with. Listen, refer to me as Ronald. And don't call me Ronald. I need Ronald.
Ronald.
You can't even say it right.
It ain't for me. It's for y'all to say it right.
I've heard Savage call you Ron.
Yeah, Lil Ron.
Yeah.
You can always get a West Tennessee people.
That's what I'm saying.
Is that what that is?
Is Ramon your official first name?
Yes, it is. Ramon Centel.
Okay.
Yeah, see, I think we talked about this once before. Most of us who are brothers are R and a S.
Yep.
Ronald Sylvester, Renardo Santonio, yeah, we're all RSs.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, Savage. Now, this is what I would like to know too. When you're in the locker room and you get one of these picks like this highly touted, what's the whirlwind? Are you getting on the chat with your teammates and you texting like, "Hey, dog, we got Cam with like what?" What's the thought? We got Cameron, excuse me. What's the thoughts?
What's probably going to call him Cam.
Right, yeah. Absolutely. So what's your thoughts to the team? What's the whirlwind like in the locker room for the guys?
Man, so I say this in a very different way. Don't take it as if, it was Moan in his old playing days with the Steelers. But we never had to actually draft a guy like this.
That's true.
You see what I'm saying? And that's the only reason I bring that up. The one, maybe two guys I saw have this type of effect was Marquise Pouncey, because when he came in, it was just different. The Steelers organization was in a spot to where they believe in the center. There's a wall of like offensive linemen. No, there's a wall of running backs, quarterbacks, and linebackers, the defense, and then there's a wall that says the center. Like, that's how high they hold that position up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And for Marquise to come in at the pick that he was in the first round and do what he did, like, a lot moved for Marquise because of the effect that he had on the offense and what he would mean to having a guy like that. That was one of the first guys I saw do that. And here's one of the cool things about it. Everybody knew it, even the coaches. And there was a guy that played here, too, Jeff Hartwig. Y'all remember Hartwig, former Titan?
Yep.
It was so blatant that Marquise was the guy that coach came into the room and said, "Hey, you guys are at this level, and that's awesome. I love your hard work that you showed in the offseason." But he said this, Marquise is up here. Mind you, Justin Hartwig had just signed a deal, okay? It was one of the biggest shockers I had ever seen in my young career. It was year two for me, to where they had cut a sitting starter to go with a rookie. Like, that's the effect that you have. But when you're one of those types of guys, and I know this fan base is clamoring, begging, praying that Cameron Ward is that dude, man, because it changes a lot. Savage, you saw my pathway through Pittsburgh. Like, we were good. Ben did his thing. But and I got to admit it, when you bring a guy like Marquise in, it elevates everybody else, man. Not just the offensive lineman, but the tight ends hear him trash talking, right? Not just the tight ends, but the running backs see him down the field running toe-to-toe with them. Not just the running backs, but the wide receivers like, dang, he 300-plus pounds and outworking us, because coach is telling us that. Like, that's what it can do for a franchise. I got to give it to the guy. And the other dude was Ryan Shazier. You knew, like, even though he wasn't like a top pick, when he came through the door, like, one, you question guys like who the hell is that dude? You know? But then you see him on the football field, the practice field. You see him run. You see him jump. You see him cover wide receivers. And you say to yourself, oh, damn, okay, all right. He's one of those types of guys. And that's what you're hoping for Cameron Ward, man, is everybody watches him work. And I heard the story that Josh Pate told on Buck Show, and Babs, you told some stories about him on our show this morning too. But his relentless attitude of, I'm not going to let y'all fail me. Like, that's cocky as hell to think about. Y'all ain't going to let me fail. You know, like, man, y'all, like, not that he has to say that, but those type of guys, your Jordans, your Kobe's, your Anthony Edwards in the league right now, right, Savage? Those dudes walk with a demeanor that, look, y'all either going to get with me or y'all going to get a boot to the ass. Ain't no other way around it, man. And so that's what I saw Shazier do. That's what I saw Pounce do. Ben was there before me, and I mean, that's just what those guys are expected to do, but I love that about them because here's the other part, and I know I'm going long, but you got me going with that question right there. Here's the thing about it. It's going to be some dudes that hate it. It wouldn't shock me if we hear a report, Cam Ward and wide receiver X or DBY, you know what I'm saying, got into an argument and almost got into a fight. Well, you know what? He probably saw something lacking in that guy. Yeah. And guess what his big boy is going to do up front? I wish you would touch my quarterback. And then the tight ends come, I wish you would do something. Like, that's what he has to do is show them I'm not backing down. It is, if it works, it's such a beautiful process.
That's a great point. What did Cristobal said? The real good ones are uncomfortable to be around sometimes.
Yeah.
Listen to me, Babs. Like, I'll never forget, like, I was looking for that because my last year at Tennessee we were 5-7. So when Marquise came in, we were attached to. He attached himself to me, and I attached to him. You know what I'm saying? Because I loved watching somebody do that, and here I was hungry to win because we didn't make the playoffs my rookie year. I was hungry to win. I was hungry for the excitement that it was, and it drew me closer to him. Like, there was some veterans that looked like, what the hell is this dude on? And you know what happened that next fall, Babsy? They got cuts. Those dudes, you rid yourself of those dudes, man. You guys have been around teams. When that type of guy comes in, the ones that are resistant, them are the ones that are the diseases. Get them out the locker room fast as hell. Yeah. Y'all almost got me cussing on this radio network, man. That's intense, right? I'm telling you, I was that close. Like, Moan, don't say that. You're going to get fired on your day off. Don't do that.
How you going to get fired on your day off? Are you going to be on Titans Radio tonight?
Yes, I am. I'm at the stadium right now.
Okay, where are you at?
We on the west side, over looking at Lower Broadway right now. West side. That's Tupac Tuesdays, by the way. I was in the practice.
Yeah, well, I think they're a little higher up. They're
you
the
could have walked straight down here.
No, we're lower. We're lower than y'all.
Lower?
Only went up one level, I think.
Oh.
I think you're up.
Yeah, Savage, you up one more than us, Savage.
Yeah.
See. We're the penthouse, dog.
You think you'd know this stadium by now. I mean,
he ain't getting out on the sideline.
That's right. You're always downstairs, right?
Tune in to Hear Titans Radio's award-winning coverage of the first round of the 2025 NFL Draft beginning at 6 p.m. Central right after 3HL on 104.5 The Zone. Hear every selection and all of the analysis that you cannot get anywhere else with Rhett Bryan, Amy Wells, Ramon Foster, Coach Dave McGinnis, and the new voice of the Titans, Taylor Zarzar, live from the Titans Draft
too, by the way.
party.
He was awesome.
At Nissan Stadium. He is great. The Titans radio draft coverage presented by Farm Bureau Health Plans, making health coverage easy since 1947. Savage, we just had Thomas Demitrov on, former GM of the Atlanta Falcons, and they selected Matt Ryan with the number 3 overall pick. And we were asking him about Cam Ward, and Dawn asked him, what would you do with that 35th pick? What would you do in the second round? He said, well, they didn't call me trade up Thomas for nothing, which I love. He goes, I'm telling you, he goes, with a young quarterback, first thing you need is a tight end that he feels comfortable with. He said, I would trade back up into the first round in the low 20s and take whoever's left between Colston Loveland and Tyler Warren. What do you think about that?
Man, I like that idea, but here's the thing. I think those guys are long gone by that time, and you don't want to reach for somebody. If you want a tight end, you're going to legitimately go with Mason Taylor.
And you can trade back to get Mason Taylor. Yep.
Absolutely, man. I like that idea, man. And here's the thing, too, like, looking at the way this draft is going to go, I'm very interested over the weekend for the Titans, man, because, again, you can go offense, right? But then there's no third round if they don't make any moves. Where is the help for the defense is all I'm saying. But here's the thing. This draft may have a theme. It may be, hey, try to get Cameron Ward as comfortable as he can to make him as good as he needs to be. So surround him with all the weapons you can possibly do.
Yep.
That's right.
And there's a point to that, but here's also the other thing, too. Most franchise quarterbacks want as many weapons they possibly can get to. You know, so that's going to be the storyline of this entire process, especially. So I asked Taylor this morning, you know, what about the hype behind Cameron Ward? And she was just, you know, I was just like, maybe it's not that big of an issue. She was just like, well, he's the number 1 overall pick. It's a little bit different when it's that right there. You know, like, so there will be an expectation for the Titans to also make him be successful.
I love that we'll have a night to think about the second round, and
Me too.
And do shows tomorrow, Savage, where we can talk about what to do with that second round pick. And
who knows? There might be they might be picking in a different spot than where they are right now.
They might. And I think one thing we need to look for today is that would help the Titans is if only 2 quarterbacks are taken in the first round. So then you have like that bevy of quarterbacks, that next group right there where somebody might target and enable you to trade back. So it's going to be fun tonight. Savage will be listening, and we'll come hang out with you here in a little while, hang out with Titans fans.
No doubt. We up here, man. Love you guys, man. Appreciate the show. And, Babs, thank you again, even though I tried to start a beef with us this morning.
Love you, Savage.
Love you, Savage. See you.
All right, no doubt.
All right, there he is, Ramon Foster. When we come back, Jeff Darlington is embedded within the Titans organization, and he had some things to say on video. We'll play the audio for you about this process and how real were the trade options for the Titans at number 1. We'll play that for you next. Stay tuned. 3HL 104.5 The Zone. United Structural Systems is a foundation repair and waterproofing company that has served the Middle Tennessee area since 1994. Lots of rain in the area over the last few weeks, more yesterday and today. Maybe you've got some waterproofing issues. United Structural Systems can help. You can check them out online, ussTN.com. To get all of the things that they do. Maybe you've got some of these symptoms with regard to waterproofing needs, standing water in your crawl space. Maybe you have musty odors, cracks in the basement floors. Your house may be trying to tell you something. Putting off a moisture issue in your home is bad for your health. It could lead to more expensive repairs down the road. These are the guys. They take it completely seriously, not going to try to upsell you or get that next job. They are there to help you. Over 30,000 100% satisfied residential customers. USSTN.com. Homeowners trust USS, keeping homes dry and stable. We guarantee our best. Call USS, serving Middle Tennessee, Southern Kentucky, and Western Kentucky. Give them a call, 615-488-7855. That's 615-488-7855, or online, USSTN.com.
Are your monthly bills keeping you up at night? Maybe you're worried about your finances in these crazy times right now. If you are like a lot of people, you might have racked up a sizable amount on your credit cards, and those monthly payments not making a dent in it. If that is the case, if that is you and you own a home, it is time to call Loan Pronto. Let them help you out. You have a super easy way to get tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars out in cash. Loan Pronto has lots of options for helping you tap into the equity in your home and get that cash you need to get back on solid footing. Most homeowners who do this end up wiping out all of their credit card debt and cutting their monthly expenses by $1,000. Look, you didn't mean to end up here. You don't have to keep stressing about money, though. Call Loan Pronto for fast debt relief. See if they can help you. 615-499-5780. LoanPronto.com at 615-499-5780. Loan Pronto Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 1661781. Subject to lender approval, NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
2025 NFL Draft almost here. The Titans are going to make their selection in about an hour and a half. Stay tuned to 104.5 The Zone to get all the latest news and info each day, today and tomorrow, leading up to the weekend. Thanks to our friends at Parman Tractor and Equipment. Download the 104.5 The Zone app and take us anywhere so you don't miss anything. Tune in tonight, tomorrow to hear every selection thanks to Parman Tractor and Equipment, your authorized Takeuchi excavator and track loader dealer. For more information, visit 1045thezone.com. Tomorrow's show is going to be really, really fun, right? Like, because you get to analyze the first pick and talk about Cam Ward and all these things, and you get to analyze what happened in the first round, just in general, within the division, within the NFL, the storylines, the trades, all these things, the surprises. And you get to kind of reset the board and look at pick 35 and what they do there. And does it become more obvious maybe that they do have the ability to move back from 35 and acquire more draft capital? I think it's going to be a lot of fun tomorrow, and we'll have some special guests on for you. So definitely stay tuned. Typically speaking, we have the number one pick on the day after he is selected.
We usually do.
So
hey, J.C. Latham last year.
I will tell you that, yes. As a matter of fact, that is correct.
Mm-hmm.
So what went on with regard to the Titans? Like, how active was the trade market, or did they just decide Cam Ward and that's it? Jeff Darlington with some information about kind of that trade element to this number one pick.
There is one team in the New York Giants that did make an aggressive pursuit to move into that number one spot. I'm told by my Titans sources that the Giants were the most aggressive team to move to that one spot. And I'm told by my Giants sources that they were made very clear by the Titans that they were not going to trade out of that first pick. And that is because we do anticipate that they will select Cam Ward in that spot. Now, I can tell you this when it comes to Ward. It was late March at his pro day. Cam Ward was out there and he fired a missile across the middle, and it was a beautifully completed pass. And he walked over to the Titans brass and he said to them, I am going to solidify it today. And I'm not saying that that was the very moment that he did in fact solidify himself as being the selection here, but I will tell you that that is a day when the Titans truly fell in love with not only the player, but the person as well.
Jeff Darlington from ESPN. He will be reporting in live during their coverage of the NFL Draft from Nashville. What y'all think about that?
I think it's funny, man. From a player's perspective, you never hear any of this. But being in the media, like, you hear so much more of it. Like, you like, that's wild to me. The multiple, you're not on. Wrong headset. The times you hear it, like, how many times we've heard this?
Are you there?
Hello.
There you are.
Hey, Babsy.
So as a player, you didn't hear it, or you didn't pay attention to it, or both? Or
I think it's both.
It'd be harder now, though, don't you think?
There's also much more social media.
So much more out there.
You get on Twitter for 2 seconds and you are
I guess so. Yeah.
tagged and hit with everything going on.
Yeah. Okay. You're right. My bad.
I think that that's even more reassuring to me. If I'm a Titans fan, that report is even more reassuring to me that they've known for a while that Cam Ward has the traits, the talent, the personality, the top to bottom, absolutely everything for them to feel completely 100% comfortable with going with him with the first overall pick. The fact that it happened early on, according to that report from Jeff, that they didn't want to. Don't even bother.
What's funny?
So don't even bother.
It was his pro day. It was his day here. It's funny how outward all of that information has been, if you really wanted it, and usually, just to take you behind our curtain, usually that's the kind of stuff that we hear behind the scenes, and then we bring to you the information as we know it without saying this is whatever.
Right.
But it helps us in determining our discussion pattern. But this year, it's just been like so out there, and it matches
with multiple reporters and multiple people.
Yes, and it matches with exactly what you hear behind the scenes, and here we sit, an hour and 20 minutes away. Like, how much time would you take if you were the Titans? All of it? Milk it?
Yeah, I'm gonna take all of it.
I'm milking it.
Yeah, because
just in case somebody gets crazy.
Yep.
Maybe the Giants get crazy. With your report from the Giants, maybe they just get crazy and say, instead of Jackson Dart at 3, let's just move up and take Cam Ward because he's the best guy.
If we're going to give up a bunch of stuff anyway, let's see one more time if we can't get the Titans to bite.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the Titans will bite.
I don't think so either.
I don't think the Titans will bite even if it's something crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, you take all the time because you want, Reese Davis and Kirk Herbstreit and
build it all up.
Every network and ABC.
Talking about you.
You want to be talked about as the Tennessee Titans and how this franchise guy is going to come here and everybody better watch and pay attention to this franchise. You take every single second of that pick to make sure that they have plenty of time to now make sure you get it in. Oh my gosh, could you imagine?
Oh, stop.
What would happen?
They just go to the next pick. It's happened before.
It happened to, was it the Vikings?
It happened to the Vikings. It's happened twice in the last several years.
Yeah.
The Vikings were the last one.
Yeah.
They just go to the next pick.
Somebody
and when
got
you
fired.
get your pick, you got to go to the back of the line?
No, you don't get it.
Into the first round. I think Kirby's right on that. I think you get.
Like,
how do you not get fired?
How do
you absolutely get fired.
Now, how do you miss getting it in? Like, what happens? Like, the guy's standing right there waiting on you to hand him the card, right?
I'm going to look up those stories tonight, and we'll talk about it tomorrow. Because that's got to be a crazy story.
No,
it's happened.
Now, that's not fireable. That's not a fireable offense. That's an assault offense. Like, whoever was supposed to handle
it's like the death penalty.
Yeah, like you can easily walk up to somebody, punch them in their face, and say, "Dude, you done," and you're done at the same time. Like you can't.
Dumb and done.
How long did they know they had to pick? Like we've been knowing since December?
Yeah, forever.
Oh yeah.
Like how you would you go?
Yeah.
You fell asleep
and all this time and money spent evaluating a first round pick. And then you don't take one?
And then you're booted to the end.
You're not. Yeah. So I don't believe it. I don't believe what y'all telling me. Y'all got to show me some documentation.
No, it's happened.
I don't care. I still don't believe it. You can't do that, Yoro. Miss the pick?
Yeah. Maybe that'll happen tonight, Slay Dog.
No, I hate.
I
tell
think
you
there
what.
might be some craziness behind the Titans.
Well,
tonight.
if that's the craziness, I'm gonna go on myself. And listen. Metro Nashville Police. TBI ain't no need doing no investigation. I'm going to be the one that's setting the dynamite over there on that other stadium, blowing it on up. Let the Titans miss this first pick. Both of these stadiums going down because ain't nobody going to be in it anyway. Nobody coming to watch them play.
In the 2003 NFL Draft, the Minnesota Vikings famously failed to make their pick at the 7th overall spot. Vikings were trying to trade their pick, but the trade with the Ravens fell through due to the Ravens not fully confirming the deal with the NFL in time. As a result, the Jaguars selected Byron Leftwich before the Vikings could make their pick, and the Vikings ultimately ended up picking Kevin Williams with the 9th overall pick. So they just moved back one.
Okay.
Oh, I thought they
moved back two.
That's still crazy. That's still somebody got fired. You won't get punched. And I won't go blow up the stadium.
Why 2? Is it just 2 spots?
Well, so they were at 7, so the team at 8 picked.
Yeah.
So they just went after them.
Yeah. So it just wasn't no 7 pick.
There's what really happened with the Vikings missed NFL draft pick in 2003. That is what I'm going to read, and we'll talk about it tomorrow.
Man.
It's got to be on the Ravens, right? Has to be. The Ravens.
The Ravens
How
did that on
appropriate
purpose.
is
They
that?
probably did it on purpose, too.
Okie doke.
Bunch of
Wow.
snakes.
See, that's why you can't really be listening.
No, that's why you really
Once
can't
you get
trust
your
gotta shut
minute,
it off.
turn it on off. Hey, it's
Shut
over.
it off.
That's why
Don't
you
be trying
gotta
to
beat
sneak
the
and listen,
Ravens.
and then
So
beat the Ravens.
show's going to be fun tomorrow. We'll be out and about. You'll have to learn. Follow us on social media. We'll let you know more details at 3HL1045. It's been a fun day. Titans draft party is going on. There are tons of people on the field now and in the club level.
But there's plenty of space.
Plenty of space. Titans radio coverage of the 2025 NFL Draft will commence momentarily. Stay tuned for that. A historic night in Nashville as they draft a quarterback. We appreciate you guys listening and including us in your lives and in your day. We do not take that for granted, nor do we take that lightly. Have a great night. NFL Draft night. Good night. God bless.
See ya.
Wouldn't want to be unless you were going to get the #1 pick, and Kai ain't got no roof will be back.
Oh, bring it back.
Oh.
Cameron Ward.